Chapter 934. Lu Chen wasn't injured, but he was too weak and fainted. When Lu Chen woke up, it was already noon the next day. In a daze, Lu Chen saw the disciples sitting around his bed, frowning. The atmosphere in the room was strange. Looking at the expressions of these people, if he didn't wake up, he was afraid that he would be in a funeral. "You guys," a sea of clouds heard Lu Chen's voice and rushed over. The others also surrounded him. "Nameless, you're awake. Dean, what are your orders? Dean, what do you want to say?" Before Lu Chen could finish his words, he found that a group of people were extremely anxious. "Do you have water?" "Yes, yes, yes." A sea of clouds hurriedly looked for water and helped Lu Chen sit up. Lu Chen drank a big bowl of water in 2 or 3 mouthfuls and took a breath. He looked at the group of people and his brain couldn't wrap itself around it. "Last night, were you all woken up by me? I also forgot that you all came to the academy. Dean, we didn't sleep at that time. We just happened to see you training in the space." Gray Crow said, "Dean, are you okay? Yesterday, there were tens of thousands of sword shadows in the space. We were scared out of our wits." Lu Chen thought of his right arm. His eyes swept over his arm and found that the dragon scales that appeared last night didn't appear. Was it an illusion? He had to study it when he had time. "Nothing, I'm just too tired. I wanted to test the strength of the space." "Oh right, what time is it now? We still have to recruit people." A sea of clouds' heart tightened. The dean had just woken up from a coma and was still thinking about recruiting people. "How about this, you all go to the recruitment office first. The newcomers there are still waiting for the test. I'll go there later. Nameless, we have control talismans. You can rest well in the academy today. Leave the recruitment to us." A sea of clouds said. "Yes, Dean, we can all help senior brother, senior sister, and master a sea of clouds. You just need to rest at home." Lu Chen looked at these people. They were all very strong, so it was fine to leave it to them. "That's good too. Little Green is enough to accompany me. You all can go." A sea of clouds knew that recruiting students was still the academy's top priority. If they didn't go as soon as possible, Nameless wouldn't feel at ease. "Then have a good rest. Miss Lu, you have to look after him. Senior A Sea of Clouds, don't worry. I've been by boss's side for many years. I'll take good care of him." A sea of clouds nodded and led the disciples to the recruitment office. After the others left, Lu Yi brought over a tonic, which Lu Chen drank in one gulp. After drinking the medicine, Lu Chen felt a little better. He opened his personal panel to check. He skipped all the other information and went straight to the information about the dragon species. Dragon type, unknown mutated dragon, level, first transformation. Due to forcefully activating the dragon species without sufficient attributes, the host is currently in a weakened state. In this state, the physical body is in a state of fatigue. The consumption of physical strength and spiritual power is increased by 10 times. Recovery skills and recovery pills cannot be used. In this state, all attributes cannot be increased. Attribute rearing dragon crystal obtained. It can remove the weakened state. However, the way to remove the weakened state is unknown. These didn't change, but there was an additional line of words behind the dragon type description. Type unknown. Currently, it is confirmed that the resurrection effect cannot be activated. Dragon crystal activation number, 1, activation strength, second transformation, effect, movement speed increased by 100%. Every 30 seconds, the next attack, normal attack or skill attack, will be accompanied by a true dragon attack. Attack strength increased by 4 times. True dragon attack. Lu Chen frowned. No wonder dragon scales appeared on his right arm. At that time, he was in a very bad state. Logically speaking, he should only be able to display 30 to 40% of its power. The result was far beyond his expectations. It seemed that it was because of the true dragon attack. It really activated the dragon crystal state. Lu Chen's eyes widened. I didn't test my movement speed at that time, but the data said that it could be doubled. A strengthened true dragon attack every 30 seconds. It seems that my mutated dragon isn't useless after all. The second transformation dragon species state seemed to be very strong. For example, a powerful skill like the sky-piercing sword, if it could deal 5 times the damage, it would be unimaginable. The only problem was that it was prone to fatigue. So far, Lu Chen still hadn't found a solution to this problem. Using attributes to rearing the dragon crystal can remove the weakened state of ordinary dragons, but I'm a mutated dragon. Why don't I try to see if the attributes can be reared? Lu Chen thought. Lu Chen embezzled 10,000 yuan of public funds and exchanged them for 1,000 spiritual energy and 3,000 strength, agility, and physique to try to add points to himself. Unable to increase spiritual energy in the weakened state. Attributes are devoured, unable to increase physical energy in the weakened state. Attributes are devoured, Lu Chen didn't care. He was here to feed the dragon crystal anyway. After trying all 4 attributes, Lu Chen found that they were of no use at all. Damn it! After devouring, can't you at least have some reaction? Lu Chen was speechless. He had just thrown 10,000 yuan of spiritual energy into the water. Forget it, let's not care about this for now. At least I know that my mutated dragon species is still useful. Lu Chen comforted himself. Speaking of which, if he activated the second transformation dragon species, the power of his next attack would be increased by 5 times. Then, a set of Holy Lotus Sword Heart should be able to kill a level 5 divine beast. A level 5 divine beast would definitely be able to get a ranking. It seems that I need to overdraw my physical strength to activate the second transformation dragon species. No, I have to try again. It just so happened that he was very weak now. It was a good time to train again. Lu Chen got out of bed and went straight to the creation space. Boss, what are you doing? I'm going to try some moves. Lu Chen said and ran away. Lu Chen had eliminated the spiritual energy ball last time. This time, he should be able to do it too. He wantonly attacked the space, quickly forcing himself into a state of overdrawing. With his stirring, a large number of sword shadows formed in the creation space, converging into a giant dragon. Lu Chen trembled as he raised the demon god limitless sword. Tiger descends the mountain. Holy Lotus Sword Heart. The moment he raised his hand, pieces of dragon scales quickly appeared on his right arm. He entered the second transformation dragon species state. This time, Lu Chen's attack was accompanied by a true dragon's attack. 2,160 sword auras whizzed out and fiercely collided with the sword shadow dragon. Lu Chen couldn't even lift his sword now, but his eyes were excitedly looking at the explosion coming from the sky. So strong. Not good, the spiritual energy ball is coming again. Quick, quick. Lu Chen was happy for less than 2 seconds. He hurriedly entered the state of spiritual energy refinement and an état to dissolve the spiritual energy ball. In the evening, a group of new disciples happily followed their senior brothers and sisters, and the great teacher of a sea of clouds, on the way back to Intentionless Mountain. From afar, they could see the fireworks in the night sky at the top of Intentionless Mountain. Is the Dean welcoming us? He even specially prepared the fireworks for us. Why didn't the Dean set off fireworks when we joined the academy yesterday? Turtle, look at this. The martial arts practice field is about to explode. Listen to this sound, it's so exciting. Martial arts practice field. Fireworks. A sea of clouds looked at the light at the top of the mountain in surprise. He felt that something was wrong. Chapter 935. When everyone returned to the top of the mountain, they didn't see any fireworks. and even the dean was gone. Miss Lu said that the dean had already rested. Everyone felt a burst of anxiety. In order to let them use the space to train with peace of mind, the dean did not hesitate to check the training space for them with a weak body. He had not recovered yet. The next day, Lu Chen got up very early. A sea of clouds reported yesterday's situation. Because they went late, many newcomers who came from afar had left, and only 4 people were recruited yesterday. The results were all 6 or 7 minutes. During breakfast, Lu Chen also saw the 4 new disciples, who were very ambitious and full of expectations for the future. Since they were late yesterday, they should go earlier today. A sea of clouds and the others had breakfast and took the disciples to the recruitment office. A sea of clouds had been taking all the newcomers to the recruitment office to cultivate their sense of belonging. After all, there was no mentor to guide them in the academy, so it was better to help them together. Lu Chen was not feeling well, so he naturally recuperated at home. "Boss, are you still going to try today? Will your body be able to bear it?" Lu Yi said worriedly. "No, I have found the critical point to activate the second stage dragon seed state yesterday. It is probably when my physical strength is exhausted. In that case, I can barely use the Holy Lotus Sword Heart once, or the one sword breaks the sky once, and the power can't be fully used. I can only use about 40 to 60%. I thought about it, hunting the 5th order beast is still too dangerous. Forget it, this time I will hunt the 4th order beast first. Whether I can get a ranking depends on my luck. With so many newcomers, I can't put them all in such a dangerous situation. At worst, I will go a few more times in the future and get some 4th order beast pills to support me for a while." Lu Yi finally breathed a sigh of relief. The boss finally thought it through. "Boss, you are too strict with yourself. The big hunting match is not an event held by Zhongxian Gu. There is no need to take so many risks." Lu Chen nodded. Yesterday, he had used soul-body fusion. At this time, it didn't matter if he had soul-body fusion or not, but the big hunting match was different. The duration of soul-body fusion here was short, and the recovery time was slow. To be safe, he had to save up 30 minutes of soul-body fusion before the competition. In order to facilitate the management of the academy, Lu Chen gave a sea of clouds a private voice-transmitting talisman. At noon, when Lu Chen was cultivating his war soul in his room, he suddenly received a message from a sea of clouds. "Nameless, are you feeling better? If there's nothing serious, then come here to take a look. Today, it's really a fierce battle. In one morning, I've already recruited 8 people. Among them, there are 2 whose strengths are only slightly inferior to Chu Tianxiao's." Lu Chen frowned slightly and exited the symbiotic state. A sea of clouds sounded very excited. The recruitment office seemed to be very lively. Lu Chen immediately rushed to the recruitment office. At the recruitment office, there were more people than usual today. Just those who wanted to take the test had a long queue, not to mention those who came to watch the fun. In contrast, the recruitment offices of other academies were deserted. Some academies' recruitment offices didn't even have any students. He didn't know if they came to watch the fun. "Damn, there are thousands of people here. Yesterday, no one from the demonic academy came. Many people who left yesterday came in the afternoon today, causing a lot of people to flood into the recruitment office." A few young people walked beside Lu Chen. "Hey, it's really here. The people from the Divine Demon Academy are here. I waited all morning yesterday and didn't see them. Fortunately, I'm here again today. It's easy to come all the way here. Now the Demonic Academy's testing space is almost the most popular project. Well, many other academies seem to have started testing projects, but I haven't heard of any project as magical as this one. Let's hurry up. It'll be painful if we can't get in line." The 21 disciples of the Demonic Academy, including Old C, were still a bit busy. The 8 newbies who joined in the morning all went to help. Black Armor King stood on the stage and kept shouting, "Don't worry, everyone. Line up in order. We have people making control talismans on the spot. We can have 300 testers today." Lu Chen was a bit surprised. At first, Lu Chen had to cooperate with Bai Yi to record the process of making control talismans. However, after making them many times, Bai Yi could make them herself. It was just that making talismans consumed a lot of spiritual energy. It was already good that Bai Yi could make 100 of them a day. However, Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan also knew how to make talismans. It seemed that they were learning from Bai Yi in the morning and were making them now. Geniuses are indeed geniuses. Lu Chen sighed sincerely. They can even make talismans. Are they all multitasking? Not only were Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan helping, but there were also a few people who were learning from them. Grey Crow was now giving the control talismans to the testers. If he felt that he couldn't pass, he could use the talismans himself. He was in charge of timing. Black Armor King was the loudspeaker here. He brought a group of junior brothers and sisters to maintain order. He also gave out some loan sharks. A Sea of Clouds was in charge of the overall situation. At the same time, those who were confident that they could pass the test in 8 minutes could directly ask him for priority testing. In general, although the people of the Demonic Academy were busy, they were orderly. A Sea of Clouds looked at the busy scene and felt very happy. He didn't expect that the president's creation space would bring the Demonic Academy back to life. At this speed, 50 testers a month would be child's play. In a few days, he would be able to complete the first month's mission and unlock the spirit vein. The quality is so high. Nameless brother, this old man is really impressed. A Sea of Clouds was talking to himself proudly. Suddenly, a young man walked in front of him. "Uncle A Sea of Clouds." A Sea of Clouds heard the voice and turned to look strangely. A Sea of Clouds' eyes widened when he saw this guy. It's you. The young man was dressed plainly. His clothes were a bit shabby. God knows how many times it had been repaired by a tailor. "Uncle, you still remember me?" "Of course I remember. You're finally here." The young man smiled slightly. "Uncle, I heard about the Wu Nian Academy and the Demonic Academy 2 days ago. It's just that I ran too far and only came back today." "It's good that you're back, it's good that you're back. By the way, those people who chased after you." A Sea of Clouds whispered. "I killed a few, and a few ran away. Sigh, they won't stop until I'm dead. Sooner or later, I'll kill my way to their nest. By the way, uncle, in this testing space, the reward is 10 million if you last 10 minutes. Is it still effective?" A Sea of Clouds shrunk his neck. "It's effective, but you might as well join the Demonic Academy." The young man's eyes lit up. "Uncle, I also want to go back to the Wu Nian Academy." In the past, they wouldn't do anything to the Wu Nian Academy because of Zhongxian Gu. But now, their strength has increased greatly. I'm afraid they don't care about the average academy. Besides, the Demonic Academy is just a lower academy. Zhongxian Gu won't get into a conflict with them for a lower academy. I've been drifting for so long. Of course, I want to have a place to stay, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'll implicate you." As he spoke, the young man's eyes dimmed. Although the time in the Wu Nian Academy wasn't long, the care of a Sea of Clouds' dean and the care of his fellow disciples made him finally feel like he was home. Along the way, it was probably only the time in the Wu Nian Academy that made him nostalgic. "Uncle, if I can last 10 minutes, just give me 500,000 spirit stones." Yi Fan is ashamed that he has to earn money from the Demonic Academy. "But I have nowhere to make a living now. I really need spirit stones." Chapter 936. A Sea of Clouds shook his head helplessly. If not for his limited abilities, he really wanted to help Yi Fan. At that moment, he saw Lu Chen walking over unsteadily. Suddenly, he saw a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Yi Fan, don't be in a hurry to take the test. Come with me to meet the Dean of the Demonic Academy. Perhaps he has a way. Uncle Master Yun, forget it. I don't want to burden you. Aya, it's fine to meet him. When the time comes, you can decide whether a god fiend will come. We won't force you. With that said, a sea of clouds pulled Yi Fan in front of Lu Chen. Nameless, do you remember the thoughtless disciple I mentioned to you, Yi Fan? Lu Chen looked at the two of them in surprise. Finally, his gaze landed on the embarrassed young man. Old C, is he Yi Fan? Senior Nameless, hello. This junior is Yi Fan. Yi Fan cupped his fists and bowed slightly. Lu Chen smiled slightly. You are not a god fiend disciple yet. I can't be considered your senior. Hello, I'm Nameless. Lu Chen still remembered that a sea of clouds had mentioned that Yi Fan was very talented. And for some reason, when he heard this name, he felt that this person was Bo Fan. Perhaps he had read too many novels in the past. Since a sea of clouds thought highly of him, Lu Chen naturally had to fight for him. Yi Fan, since you are here, why don't you take the test? It would be great if you could come to our demonic academy. Our academy also has many former thoughtless disciples. Old C, and a few thoughtless instructors will come in the future. Yi Fan found it hard to speak. When a sea of clouds saw this, he hurriedly pulled Lu Chen to the side. Director, that child carries a blood feud with them, and the other party is very powerful. I heard from Yi Fan that they have several top experts on their side, which makes them even more powerful. Even Zhongxian Gu doesn't want to have a direct confrontation with them. That child doesn't want to drag us down, and only wants to win the prize money. He doesn't want to join the demonic academy. Lu Chen frowned. No wonder a sea of clouds said that this guy couldn't afford the tuition fees. Being hunted down every day, it would be a wonder if he had any money on him. He doesn't want much. After passing the test, he only wants 500,000 spirit stones. He probably doesn't have any money to live on right now. A sea of clouds didn't forget to speak up for Yi Fan. Lu Chen asked, Old Hai, do you think he can last more than 10 minutes? That child is a rare genius. When he first joined the Intentionless Academy, he hadn't fully revealed his talent, but at that time, I could already see that he wasn't a fish in a pond. It's a pity that the Intentionless Academy was already in a difficult situation, and could only barely hold on. Otherwise, I would have definitely nurtured that child with all my strength. In my opinion, his aptitude is better than Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan. Sigh, if his opponents weren't so strong, I reckon that even if he went to the Immortal Academy, this child would still be able to make a name for himself. Lu Chen's frown became tighter and tighter. Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan were already considered top talents among the newcomers, but a sea of clouds was actually so sure that Yi Fan was stronger than them. At this time, Lu Chen was simply thirsting for talent. When he heard a sea of clouds' evaluation of Yi Fan, his heart also itched. Nameless, do you think we? A sea of clouds looked at Lu Chen, waiting for his decision. Lu Chen directly walked in front of Yi Fan. Yi Fan, Old Hai told me about your general situation. Nameless Dean, Yi Fan is really ashamed. Yi Fan respects martial uncle a sea of clouds, but I have to earn spirit stones from him, Lu Chen smiled faintly. I've set the rules, so as long as you meet the conditions, you can obtain a reward if you can last for 10 minutes. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Moreover, if you want to stay, my demonic academy will also welcome you. Yi Fan looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Nameless Dean, didn't Martial Uncle Yun mention my enemy to you just now? I'm afraid that if I stay, it will be detrimental to the demonic academy. Lu Chen had a faint smile on his face. You only need to know that if you join the Demonic Academy and follow the rules of the Demonic Academy, then the Demonic Academy will be your backer. As for whether this backer is strong or not, that's not your problem to worry about. That's my problem. This. Yi Fan's eyes widened. Was this one-armed guy sure he was the dean? Other deans were all overcautious and kept a low profile. Why was this guy so arrogant? Didn't he even ask who his opponent was? Lu Chen saw that Yi Fan was still hesitating, so he smiled and said gently, "Of course, the decision is yours. A close friend of mine once told me that the most precious right of a person is the right to choose. The most precious right is the right to choose." Yi Fan savored this sentence carefully. That's right. Lu Chen took a deep breath. There was probably no one who understood the meaning of this sentence better than him. Wasn't it because he was unwilling to compromise and chose to adhere to his own beliefs that he had come this far? Whether you choose to become a god fiend or continue to wander, that's your right. Whether you choose to submit or resist, that's also your right. Whether you choose to forget your hatred and live your life in disgrace, or to endure and cultivate so that you can take revenge one day, that's your right. Whether it's your enemy or your fate, they're all external forces. How you choose in the end, it's all up to you. Don't forget your original intentions, only then can you reach the end. Since you've decided on something, you must follow it to the end. When Yi Fan heard these words when he was at his lowest point, it made his heart tremble. At this moment, Yi Fan suddenly felt as if someone had read him. It was as if there were many similarities between him and Nameless, which was why there was such a strong resonance. Even the dean knows me well. All right, let's go and try the testing space. Speaking of which, this space has been here for a few days now. Until now, no one has been able to last more than 10 minutes. As he said this, Lu Chen smiled at Yi Fan and then walked into the resting area. Yi Fan was silent for a long time. No matter whether he decided to join the Demonic Academy or not, he had to take the test first. A sea of clouds deliberately let Black Armor King stand in the testing space and replace Grey Crow in distributing the control talismans. Black Armor King didn't think too much about it. It was the same anyway. However, when he was about to distribute the control talismans to the next tester, he was stunned when he saw the person in front of him. Junior Yi Fan. It's you. Senior Armor King, long time no see. How have you been? Yi Fan cupped his fists and bowed. When Black Armor King saw Yi Fan, he was excited. He hurriedly turned to a sea of clouds and saw a sea of clouds nodding at him. It seemed that the latter already knew that Yi Fan was here. Junior Yi Fan, it's really you. I'm doing well. I'm still the same as before, running errands and collecting profits. I've already joined the Demonic Academy. You, on the other hand, are so poor every day. Without me lending you money, you're still alive. Yi Fan couldn't help but laugh. Senior Armor King, I can still fill my stomach. Fill your stomach? Please pay me back the 300,000 spirit stones you owe me first. How long has it been? The interest should be more than 100,000. Although Black Armor King was asking for money, he was smiling and didn't seem to be in a hurry at all. Senior Armor King, talking about money hurts our relationship. After I pass this testing space, I'll pay you back double. Haha, will you die if you don't brag all day long? It's not easy to pass 10 minutes. Why don't you join the Divine Demon Academy and join us? We'll work together and make a name for ourselves. Your Senior Armor King doesn't want you to pay back the 300,000 spirit stones. Senior Armor King, you're such a miser. You don't want me to pay back the money? Forget it, I'd better pay back the money as soon as possible. Otherwise, if I really join the Divine Demon Academy, I'll be at your beck and call all day long. Yi Fan hadn't decided whether to join the Divine Demon Academy or not. When he was teasing his Senior Armor King, he inadvertently thought of all the interesting things that happened when he joined the Divine Demon Academy. When Yi Fan said it, he suddenly realized that he also wanted to go back to the former courtyard of intentionless and focus on cultivation with his seniors and juniors. Chapter 937. Let's not talk about this for now. Test it first. This is a control talisman. Black Armor King handed over a copy. Yi Fan looked at the quality of the copy, Earth-level talisman paper. This must cost a lot of spirit stones. It's okay, the academy will reimburse me anyway. Yi Fan thought for a while and said, forget it, I don't need this. Save it for the people behind me. No need. Yi Fan, this testing space is extremely dangerous towards the end. I've heard about it, but I'm confident. Black Armor King couldn't help but gasp. As expected of Yi Fan, this guy had given them plenty of scares in the past. Without waiting for Black Armor King to finish, Yi Fan actually walked into the testing space by himself. Black Armor King's eyes widened and hurriedly ran to Lu Chen's side. Principal, Director Cloud, Yi Fan didn't bring the control talisman. Without the control talisman, to stop the array, Lu Chen had to control it. But to the newcomers, especially those who came in the last 2 days, many didn't know that the gods and demons had other ways to stop the testing space. In other words, that guy didn't seem to want anyone to save him. A sea of clouds was a little anxious and said to Lu Chen, nameless, Yi Fan is just like that. Don't be fooled by his low profile usually, but when he does something, he's like a lunatic. Lu Chen smiled faintly. This kid is really interesting. Don't worry, I'm here. He'll be fine. In the testing space, the news of someone not using the control talisman quickly spread. Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan also looked at the figure in the testing space with concern. Countless people around them craned their necks, and many people from other academies were also paying close attention. He didn't bring the control talisman. Is he not planning to come out? How arrogant. Who is this guy? I've never seen him before. A Celestial Academy recruitment disciple squinted his eyes and sized him up. He looks familiar. I think he's the demon from the Academy of Wunyan. Is it really that demon? Damn, quick, report to the headmaster. Hasn't the headmaster been looking for him? At this moment, Yi Fan was already standing in the testing space. Unlike everyone else, he closed his eyes as soon as he entered the space. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Spiritual Qi refinement. Lu Chen's heartbeat quickened all of a sudden. Finally, he had met someone who knew how to use spiritual energy. He really wanted this person. Damn, old Hai, why don't you say that he knows how to enter the minute subtlety? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have been so casual. Lu Chen pinched old Hai's arm. He didn't seem to know it in the past. Could it be that he comprehended it recently? That's even harder to come by. Lu Chen was regretting his decision. It would be a shame if this SSR player ran away. Yi Fan had been carefully sensing the fluctuations of spiritual energy in the air. When the first sword shadow had pierced towards him, he had used an extremely small displacement to dodge the attack. Lu Chen nodded. This was indeed the best way to deal with the situation. When no one else entered the creation space, it was always very peaceful. Yi Fan must have noticed this and tried his best not to change the fluctuations of spiritual energy in the space. As expected, Yi Fan's sword shadows grew slower than everyone else's in the testing space. He easily passed 6 minutes. He didn't even activate soul body as one, nor did he block the sword shadows. No way, what did he do? Why are the sword shadows splitting so slowly? It feels like he's trying to become one with the space. But he didn't manage to do it. The number of sword shadows is starting to increase. His 6 minutes is like everyone else's 2 minutes. It's impossible for him to become one with the space. It's already unbelievable that he could do this. 6 minutes and 40 seconds later, the number of sword shadows increased. Yi Fan still didn't counterattack. He only increased the range of his movement. His movement technique was very particular. He was agile and fast. His changes were strange and his reaction was also very fast. When surrounded by multiple parties, he could often find the best escape route. 8 minutes and 52 seconds later, the sword shadows filled the testing space. Thousands of sword shadows came from all directions, almost blocking all escape routes. Yi Fan finally began to counterattack. His attacks continued to follow the principle of using just the right amount of strength. The silver-white sword in his hand moved like lightning. It was like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. When he touched the sword shadow, he would change its path. As Yi Fan's control of spiritual energy was too exquisite, the speed at which the sword shadows split was slower than everyone else's. 10 points. Yi Fan still hadn't activated soul body as one. Oh my god, it's been 10 minutes. Someone has held on for more than 10 minutes. Why does it feel so easy to watch him fight? His moves are like moving clouds and flowing water. His movement technique is just right. His spiritual energy control is exquisite. Is this guy really a newcomer under 10 years old? Let's not talk about those under 10 years old. How many old disciples who have been here for 30 to 40 years can do this? 12 points. At this moment, there were already more than 10,000 sword shadows. Yi Fan finally entered, soul body as one, and began to fight the sword dragons head-on. 9 stars fall. Black pin divine transformation, demonic wind ghostly shadow. Holy Buddha ascetic Buddha seal, true fire demon subduing Buddha finger. Black pin divine transformation, astral wine sword intent. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Sword spirit, martial god, martial artist. This guy had at least 3 professions. In terms of the elements, wind and fire were very strong. His moves were seamless and could split freely. His moves were like moving clouds and flowing water. Yi Fan's elemental fusion of so many professions could be said to be perfect. 14 minutes into the battle, Yi Fan was like a god descending. His eyes were red, and the silver sword in his hand ignited with flames. This testing space is actually endless. It's very compatible with the Tao of Yin and Yang and has already formed its own system. The more time passes, the more mature it becomes. Yi Fan narrowed his eyes slightly. This was the first time he encountered such a situation. Only by exceeding the limits of the space within a short period of time can this space be broken. Immediately, terrifying spiritual energy erupted from Yi Fan's body. Like a raging fire, it directly swept away the sword shadows around him. It's been 14 minutes. He still has a trump card. Xiao Zhan widened his eyes and looked at Yi Fan in disbelief. Chu Tian narrowed his eyes slightly. This fellow was really strong. Even if he used his killing move, he might not be able to win. However, just as Yi Fan was accumulating power, the sword shadows around him suddenly disappeared. Then, a figure slowly walked into the testing space. Yi Fan looked at the person in surprise. The person was the president of Xinghua Sacred Academy, Di Xian. Di Xian smiled at Yi Fan. Yi Fan, come to Xinghua Sacred Academy. Wait. Suddenly, a large group of people came from outside the space. What was shocking was that all the people who came were frightening. There was another academy in the same area, 100 Battles Academy, Paladin Academy, and many other academies nearby. There were even 4 or 5 high-level instructors from High Firmament Academy and North Pole Academy. On their chest badges, there was only the word, Immortal. The one who spoke was an old man with the word, Immortal, on his chest. This person had white hair and a youthful face. When he looked at Yi Fan, his eyes were shining. People from Immortal Academy? Oh my god, they are from Immortal Academy. People from Immortal Academy are all here. They are here to snatch that guy. No way, what kind of academy is this? So many academies are breaking the recruitment rules for that guy. Is that guy really a world-shaking genius? Chapter 938. The Dean of 100 War Academy personally came to recruit, but before he could open his mouth, he saw the representatives of Immortal Academy. He forcefully swallowed the speech he had prepared. Although Immortal Academy was elusive, many continents didn't even have their own Immortal Academy. But what was strange was that every time a super genius appeared, they would definitely be seen. Many geniuses who came to Sixth Heaven would receive an invitation from Immortal Academy. Of course, Yi Fan wasn't really a newcomer, so many people didn't understand why Immortal Academy's people would appear here. But regardless of the reason, Immortal Academy's people came. Even Sacred Academy's dean didn't dare to act rashly in front of them. Immortal Academy's elder had a smile on his face as he directly walked into the testing space. Di Xian's expression was a bit unnatural. Originally, their Glorious Star Academy was definitely ranked high among the nearby academies, but who would have thought that Immortal Academy's people would appear out of nowhere? Dean Di Xian, can you let this old man talk with little friend Yi Fan for a bit? The elder cupped his fists and asked. Di Xian took half a step back. Immortal Elder, what are you saying? Please. The elder stood in front of Yi Fan. Yi Fan, are you willing to come to Immortal Academy to give it a try? With your aptitude, staying in prosperous origin continent is really a waste of talent. In the distance, Grey Crow was a bit angry. He said to Lu Chen, Dean, what is this? Using our testing space to test, we ended up encountering a top-class genius, and a group of people came to snatch him. A sea of clouds glared at Grey Crow. Don't talk nonsense. Those are Immortal Academy's people. Nameless, don't be impulsive. We can't afford to offend Immortal Academy's people. He was indeed a bit worried that Nameless would be impulsive. Although he was the dean, he was still a newcomer who had just arrived at Sixth Heaven. Moreover, from his way of doing things, he wasn't someone easy to deal with. When a sea of clouds looked at Lu Chen, he discovered that the dean wasn't looking at the testing space, but rather at the distant sky. Lu Chen frowned slightly. From the looks of it, more people are coming. This Yi Fan is not only popular, but also a hot potato. Sure enough, a few purple figures in the distance flashed and arrived at the testing area in the blink of an eye. These people were all wearing the same purple clothes and devil masks. Their badges could not be seen clearly, but they were of the same color. Seeing these people, the surrounding rookies were at a loss. Which academy are they from? The emblem doesn't seem to be an academy emblem. However, when the dean of the Academy of 100 Battles saw these people, his expression changed. It's the people from the Purple Heaven Palace. Why are they here too? Dean, who is the Purple Sky Palace? Don't ask too many questions. Don't talk back to them later. Even though these people all wore masks, the auras their bodies released weren't any weaker than Immortal Academy's people. The surrounding newcomers subconsciously backed up, directly opening up a path for them. Immortal Academy's people who were currently chatting with Yi Fan turned around. When they saw these people walk over, the elder's brows immediately furrowed. Purple Heaven Palace. Why are they here? There were a total of 5 people from the Purple Heaven Palace. The one in the lead walked over. Even though his expression couldn't be seen, the smiling face on the devil mask made it seem as if he was smiling. Yi Fan, Yi Fan, it's really interesting. We've been looking for you for so long but couldn't find you. You actually dare to return here? Fortunately, the Palace Lord told us to wait here at the innocuous academy. It's been a few months, and we've finally found you. Yi Fan's expression also darkened. You guys are really like ghosts that won't go away. Ha ha ha, if we want to catch a brat like you, of course we won't be able to catch you if we don't have a bit of patience. Immortal Academy's elders' experience naturally didn't need to be mentioned. From the conversation between the two, he guessed that there was definitely a grudge between the two sides. He said to the Purple Heaven Palace's people, "I wonder which Purple Heaven Palace's pavilion lord you are. You don't need to know which pavilion lord I am. You only need to know that this Yi Fan won't join your Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy. He was killed by our Purple Heaven Palace, and no one can save him. Even if it's your Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy, if you insist on fighting with us over him, we won't be lenient." The elder's eyes widened in anger. Just as he was about to explode, someone pulled him back and said in a low voice, "Elder Su Yan, our academy isn't in this star field. The Purple Heaven Palace's influence is extremely vast. After those people joined in these years, their development has increased by leaps and bounds. At this time, it's not good for us to clash with the Purple Heaven Palace." "That's right, Senior Su Yan. We're only in charge of recruiting genius disciples. Even though this Yi Fan's talent is outstanding, if we clash with the Purple Heaven Palace because of him, the gains won't make up for the losses." Another elder also stepped forward and spoke. Su Yan's brows were tightly furrowed. Even though he really wanted to take in Yi Fan, the words of his junior brother and the academy's disciples weren't without reason. It was obvious that the Purple Heaven Palace was determined to get him. They didn't hesitate to offend the Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy to kill Yi Fan. It was clear that the hatred between the two sides was deep, and it wasn't something that could be resolved with just a few words. After some consideration, Su Yan reluctantly took half a step back and said to Yi Fan, "Little friend Yi Fan, it seems like you're not fated to be with our Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy. Due to my status, I can't make a move. I just hope that you can turn danger into safety." Yi Fan wasn't surprised by Su Yan's attitude at all. If the Purple Heaven Palace was easy to deal with, he would have joined some academy long ago and cultivated in peace. He didn't blame the Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy for being ruthless. After all, he wasn't a disciple of the Heavenly Saint. If he had to blame someone, he could only blame himself for being careless. Yi Fan stared at the purple-clothed man who spoke. This guy was obviously not one of those little kittens and puppies he'd met before. He was at least the pavilion master, and he might even be one of the 8 immortal generals. The Purple Heaven Palace had specially sent people to wait for him, so they definitely had full confidence in killing him. "Yi Fan, don't think that I don't know. When you walked into the sea of vicious demons a few days ago, you already used the soul-body unification. Now, your soul-body unification is almost gone, so you can't escape this time." The man raised his chin slightly, as if he was looking at prey that was already in his hands. "You also saw that even the Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy won't protect you. I think you should just obediently let yourself be captured." Su Yan, Di Xian, and the others had already retreated from the space, and the people of the Purple Heaven Palace surrounded Yi Fan in the middle, closing in on him step by step. "You little bastard, today, even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, he won't be able to protect you. Today is the day you die. Capture this bastard for me." Before he finished speaking, a faint voice suddenly rang out. "I say, this is my territory. Do you think you can come and go as you please? You even want to kill people here. Aren't you looking down on the demonic academy too much?" Even the people of the Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy could only suffer in silence. At this time, there was still someone who dared to speak up. Everyone present looked in the direction of the voice in shock. At this time, in the resting area of the Demonic Academy's staff, a one-armed man was sitting leisurely on a chair. Beside him, his assistant, a sea of clouds, was also looking at Nameless with a shocked expression. Just now, he wanted to remind Nameless not to conflict with the people of the Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy, but the people of the Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy interrupted. Now that the people of the Heavenly Saint Immortal Academy had withdrawn from the competition, the Dean directly attacked the people of the Purple Heaven Palace. He was stunned and didn't have time to stop the Dean. Not only those unrelated people, but even the disciples of the Demonic Academy were stunned at this time. Although they didn't know about the Purple Heaven Palace, after comparing their strength, everyone knew that the people of the Purple Heaven Palace were not to be trifled with. But just like that, the dean didn't even think and directly spoke. Xiao Zhan nudged Chu Tian with his shoulder. "Senior brother, I have a premonition." "Ah. What premonition?" "In the future, this demonic academy will really speed up. We may not be able to keep up with the dean's pace." Chapter 939. The people from the Purple Sky Palace suddenly burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha, I was wondering who it was. So it's that crippled Nameless. Oh, I forgot, you're a dean after all." This group of people seemed to have some understanding of Lu Qin, knowing that he was nameless. Of course, from their attitude, it seemed like they only knew that he was nameless. Nameless. A sea of clouds couldn't help but scratch his head. "You. They are from the Purple Sky Palace, even Zhongxian Gu has to be courteous to them." When the Sacred Academy saw them, they didn't even dare to say anything. The elders of the Immortal Academy didn't dare to confront them directly, and even Zhongxian Gu had to be courteous to them. There was no need to say more about the power of the Purple Sky Palace. Lu Qin snorted coldly. From the first heaven onwards, he seemed to have only met these top powers. "That's Zhongxian Gu, but it doesn't mean that my demonic academy has to be courteous to them." After saying that, Lu Qin stood up and walked directly to the testing space. He walked past the people from the Purple Sky Palace and stood in front of Yi Fan. "I'm crippled, so what? This is the recruitment area of my demonic academy. You guys rushed in one by one to snatch people. Dean Xinghua, and that Heavenly Saint Academy, you two have to give me an explanation later." Elder Su Yen almost spat out a mouthful of blood. It was fine that they were suppressed by the Purple Sky Palace. After all, their academy didn't expand everywhere like the Purple Sky Palace. The Heavenly Saint Academy was far away in the Jinza continent, and they were weak. But what kind of thing was this demonic academy? They actually wanted them to give an explanation. Even the Sacred Academy had to bear the pain to part with the people the Immortal Academy wanted, let alone this demonic academy, which seemed to be a lower academy. They had seen arrogant students before, but they had never seen a dean leading such an arrogant group. Di Xian's face was also green and purple. Xinghua was the big brother of this area, and as the dean, who didn't give him face. In the end, when it came to the demonic academy, that guy didn't give him any face. And he was even singling them out for criticism. However, at least he was called out together with Heavenly Sacred Immortal Academy, so others shouldn't notice him. Nameless really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. The elder behind him coldly said, "In the end, he's just a newcomer. I really don't understand why Yunhai would follow him and cause trouble. Sooner or later, he and the demonic academy will be doomed." At this moment, Lu Chen had no time to pay attention to Di Xian and Su Yen for the time being. After all, the people from the Violet Heavenly Palace were the last ones standing. Yi Fan, who was standing behind Lu Chen, suddenly said, "Nameless Dean, Yi Fan thanks Dean for his kind intentions, but I don't want to implicate you." Yi Fan took another step forward and stood beside Lu Chen. He raised his voice and said to the people from the Violet Heavenly Palace, "This matter has nothing to do with the Demonic Academy. If you want to kill me, let's see if you have the ability to do so." Lu Chen curled his lips. "Yi Fan, what you said is wrong. I don't care if they kill you or not, but this is the testing area of the Demonic Academy. Without my permission, no one can kill anyone here. How could a genius like Yi Fan not know that Nameless wanted to protect him? Dean, the power behind them, don't talk about the power behind them. My rules don't depend on the person. Whoever comes has to abide by them." Lu Chen smiled indifferently, but his eyes were burning with anger. He turned around and said to the people from the Violet Heavenly Palace, "I've made myself clear enough. If you don't want me to do it, get out of here now." Ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. A few people from the Violet Heavenly Palace almost died of laughter. Nameless, this is the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life. How many people do you have in the Demonic Academy? Do you have 30 of them? Or do you want to make the Violet Heavenly Palace your enemy with your own strength? Lu Chen snorted coldly. What you mean is that I can go to your house and kill people as I wish next time, and if you stop me, you'll be my enemy. It seems that you're used to being arrogant and despotic. Otherwise, why would you use this kind of bandit logic as your code of conduct? So what if we are? The people from the Violet Heavenly Palace said angrily. Nameless, don't think that you're invincible just because you defeated a few newbies from the Soaring Cloud Academy. Let me tell you, in the 6th heaven, those newbies are not worth mentioning at all. Look at you now. With only one arm, I'm afraid you're only half as good as others. Trash like you can be the dean, and there are still so many idiots who are willing to follow you. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. It seems that you won't give up until you see the coffin. Suddenly, without any warning, a beam of sword chi swept out. No one had expected that the dean of the Demonic Academy would actually make a move directly. A sword chi shot toward the person from the Violet Heavenly Palace who had just spoken. That person was also an expert. In a situation where both sides were not in any state, that person actually relied on his physical body to move and dodge Lu Chen's attack. You dare to make a move? I think you really don't want to live anymore. Fine, I'll let you understand one thing. If the Violet Heavenly Palace wants to kill a dean of the lower house, I won't even bat an eye. The leader glared angrily. But at this moment, they suddenly discovered that the surrounding spiritual chi began to circulate rapidly. The testing space had begun to operate. Although Lu Chen's sword chi just now did not hit the opponent, it was like a stone thrown into a still lake, causing ripples and restarting the creation space. The surrounding onlookers widened their eyes even more. Was Nameless going to fight with the other party in the creation space? One had to know that the spiritual chi escaping from the creation space would accelerate the formation of sword shadows in the space. Previously, everyone had tried their best to avoid large movements, but now, two groups of people were directly fighting in the creation space. The people from the Violet Heavenly Palace narrowed their eyes slightly. They had previously guessed that this testing space was a status skill. Now that they were in it, they were even more convinced of this point. Sure enough, it's a status skill. You're lucky to have comprehended a status skill. Nameless, you're actually the strongest newcomer. Lu Chen smiled slightly. I'm not interested in being the strongest or not. I only know that you will die here. Several people from the Heavenly Sage Immortal Academy were slightly surprised. They said that Nameless is the strongest newcomer. What does that mean? Senior brother, there's no information about this person anywhere before. It's possible that he's also a newcomer. What? A newcomer? A newcomer directly coming to the 6th heaven to be the dean. This is simply unheard of. I've heard some rumors mentioning that Nameless somehow got a sea of clouds to pass the position of the Dean of the Intentionless Academy to him. Later, in the name of the Intentionless Academy, he seized the old site of the Intentionless Academy. It seems that he became the Dean in this way. It's just that not many people were optimistic about him at that time. Some even thought that he wouldn't last a month. But now, it seems that the quality of the disciples recruited by the Demonic Academy is quite high. If that's the case, this person has some tricks up his sleeve. Su Yen narrowed his eyes slightly. A newcomer directly coming to be the dean. This was really hard to believe. At this time, Lu Chen had already pulled out the infinite sword of the celestial demon. Seeing this sword, the surrounding people couldn't be more familiar with it. It was the main body of those sword shadows that made people tremble in fear in the testing space. This once again proved that the testing space was the masterpiece of this principle of the Demonic Academy. Infinite sword of the celestial demon. Behind the devil mask, a pair of incomparably shocked eyes appeared. You're actually the owner of the infinite sword of the celestial demon. This kind of otherworldly object actually recognized you as its master. Impossible. Lu Chen was slightly surprised. Ever since he obtained the infinite sword of the celestial demon, no one could accurately call out the full name of this sword. However, this group of people actually recognized the infinite sword. Purple Heavenly Palace. Where did it come from? Chapter 940. When Lu Chen was about to make a move, a sea of clouds, Gray Crow, Bai Yi, Black Armor King, Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, Old Wine, and the others rushed into the testing space. A sea of clouds pressed down on Lu Chen's arm. Nameless, we're here. There's no reason for you to make a move. Dean, if you have to make a move on everyone, our demonic academy will lose face. Black Armor King snorted and looked at the people from the Purple Sky Palace. Hey, this is our demonic academy's territory. It's not your place to behave atrociously. Xiao Zhan was not someone who would stay put. He said coldly, do you think there's no one in our demonic academy? How dare you make a move on our dean? I, Xiao Zhan, am here. If you want to make a move on our dean, you'll have to go through me first. Chu Tian's character was relatively calm. He stood in front of Lu Chen. Anyway, what should be said had been said by others. Lu Chen was also speechless. Who asked you to come here? Gray Crow said, Dean, don't you know what kind of people you've recruited? If others dare to make a move on you, it'll be strange if they can tolerate it. There were more than 30 people from the demonic academy. Every one of them was a newcomer who had lasted at least 6 minutes. It could be imagined that when they were at the 5th layer of heaven, they were not people to be trifled with. They did not care about the Purple Sky Palace and were ready to fight directly. The people from the Purple Sky Palace narrowed their eyes slightly. They were really careless. They did not expect the demonic academy to make a move on them directly. Before this, they never thought that a dean of a lower house would dare to make a move. That was why they swaggered into the testing space. Now, not only did Nameless make a move, but the entire demonic academy also made a move. There were few people in this small and shabby academy. From the dean to the students, none of them were normal. Almost everyone from the demonic academy was here. Although there were only more than 30 people in the entire academy, more than 30 people were now ready to fight. This made the people of the Violet Heavenly Palace feel guilty. Being in other people's status skills, there was a group of geniuses who had the ability to fight above their level. There was also an expert like Yun Hai, and the combined strength of the 3 thoughtless heroes was not weak either. There was also that mysterious Dean Wu Ming. For Yi Fan to be able to escape from their clutches time and time again, that kid was not weak to begin with. With only 5 of them, the situation was hard to predict. Trash is trash. Do you want the whole academy to attack him together? The people of the Purple Heaven Palace deliberately raised their voices. A sea of clouds snorted. It's about the dignity of the demonic academy. Although our demonic academy has just started, we can't allow you to be rude to our president here. Old man, stop wasting your breath. Xiao Zhan immediately retorted, weren't the 5 of you planning to bully a newcomer with numbers? If you want to talk about shamelessness, you are the ones who are shameless to the extreme. Xiao Zhan, this kid, was really unforgiving with his words. The people of the Violet Heavenly Palace looked at the long sword in Lu Chen's hand and thought for a moment. Under many uncertain factors, the leader suddenly removed the spiritual energy from his body. Interesting. The demonic academy, right? We are here to kill Yi Fan, but you want to take the blame. Since you are willing to get involved in this mess, fine. We will settle this account slowly. Yi Fan, you are lucky this time. I will let you live for a few more days. But remember, you can't run away. Let's go. As the man turned around, he whispered to the people behind him, the strange movement in the ominous demon sea has not been investigated clearly. We are in the nameless realm skill. This battle is not safe for us. We need to preserve our strength. There is no need to confront them head-on. They can run away, but they can't hide. When our people come, they will be like turtles in a jar. They exchanged glances and nodded slightly. They instantly left the test space. A sea of clouds let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, the dean did not control the space to lock the other party and let them go. Hey, don't run if you have guts. Xiao Zhan was still shouting at the back, but he was stopped by Chu Tian. Junior brother, don't talk so much. Do you really want to fight with them? Xiao Zhan stuck out his tongue. Senior brother, you can see that those old foxes are very cunning. They won't turn around and fight. If we really fight, although we might not necessarily lose, it will definitely not be good for our academy. I just let them see our Divine Devil Academy's imposing manner. The Demonic Academy directly scared the Violet Heavenly Palace away. If this spread out, we would be so proud. Chu Tian couldn't help laughing. Ha ha ha, junior brother, you are really bold and careful. The two sides did not really pursue the matter, but a sea of clouds still had dark clouds in his heart. The people of the Violet Heavenly Palace were more cunning than he thought. They left now, definitely not to say that this matter was over. The next time they appeared, the Demonic Academy would not only be able to protect Yi Fan, but also itself. Yi Fan did not speak. His eyes fell on the back of the man with a broken arm in front of him. Previously, many academies fought for him, even at the expense of breaking the rules. They seemed to be sincere and valued him very much. But when the people of the Violet Heavenly Palace appeared, these people all retreated. Only the Demonic Academy stood in front of him. At this moment, Yi Fan suddenly had an illusion. It was as if they were his family and would protect him at all costs. Now, although the people of the Violet Heavenly Palace temporarily retreated, the Violet Heavenly Palace would definitely remember this debt of the Demonic Academy. They could no longer get rid of it. Looking at the other people of the Demonic Academy, talking and laughing. Were they sure these people were geniuses? Did they not know how big a mess they had just made? Except for the uncle of a sea of clouds who looked worried, the others looked indifferent. But after thinking about it for a while, it was actually not strange. After all, it was the dean who took the lead in causing trouble. The dean acted as if nothing had happened, and the disciples were naturally the same. Sure enough, like the dean, like the students, Dean, it's all because of me. Yi Fan was heartbroken. In the future, the Demonic Academy will not be able to escape from the evil hands of the Violet Heavenly Palace. Lu Qin turned to look at Yi Fan and smiled slightly. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I have made more than 1 or 2 enemies. It doesn't matter if the Violet Heavenly Palace is added. But I want to ask you. Yi Fan raised his head and looked at Lu Qin in surprise. After knowing his situation, the dean would not still want him to stay, would he? Lu Qin continued, would you like to join our Demonic Academy? I'm worried. Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan also walked over. Xiao Zhan was naturally familiar with Yi Fan and put his hand on Yi Fan's shoulder. Brother Yi Fan, don't dawdle. We are not worried. What are you worried about? Chu Tian also said, Brother Yi Fan, the dean doesn't care about making enemies. We don't care either. What are you worried about? Besides, do you think there is any academy more suitable for you than the Demonic Academy? Yi Fan looked at Lu Qin and then at the divine demon disciples. A long-lost feeling welled up in his heart. It was just like when he was in the sacred courtyard of Wunyan. It was as if he had returned home. Yes, with such senior and junior brothers and such a dean, was there any other place more suitable for him? The Black Armor King walked over with a smirk and patted Yi Fan's shoulder. Junior brother, I knew you would come back. Welcome home. Oh, by the way, since you are back, remember to pay back my spirit stones. Chapter 941. Yi Fan had finally decided to join the demonic academy. Lu Chen was secretly delighted. He had finally obtained the SSR Academy. On the other hand, the rumor of the demonic academy repelling a powerful force quickly spread throughout prosperous Origin continent. Even the Immortal Academy didn't dare to provoke the Sacred Academy, but the Demonic Academy, a newly established lower academy, didn't cower in the slightest. Just this point alone attracted the interest of many newcomers. Coupled with their unique testing space, more and more people flocked to the Demonic Academy's recruitment office. In the next 2 days, the Demonic Academy's recruitment office had a large number of newcomers waiting to be tested before the recruitment office even opened. Under such circumstances, the Demonic Academy's recruitment suddenly became popular. On the afternoon of the 5th day, Lu Chen was resting in the academy when he received a system notification. Congratulations, you've completed the first month's recruitment mission. The Demonic Academy's secondary spirit vein is now open. They've just started and they've already recruited people. Lu Chen was pleasantly surprised. However, Lu Chen still decided to wait for Old Hai to come back and check the secondary spirit vein with him. After all, Old Hai was very familiar with the place. At night, the recruitment army came back. They had recruited 19 people in a single day, and the total number of students in the academy had reached 66. When Old Hai came back, he was completely refreshed. When he saw Lu Chen, he immediately ran over to report the results. Nameless, 66 in just 5 days. You've worked hard, Old Hai. What's so hard about it? It's all those brats doing the work. Oh right, the instructors I mentioned to you before should be arriving in 2 days. I'll accompany you to meet them then. Lu Chen nodded. With students and instructors, the academy was finally on the right track. Old Hai, accompany me to take a look at the secondary spirit vein first, Lu Chen said. The seal will be lifted this morning, but it'll be easier with you around. Let's go now. I can't wait any longer. The two of them went straight to the backyard on the east side of the training field. The main spiritual vein of the Demonic Academy was that strange spiritual vein, which had not been used for a long time. On the other hand, the secondary spiritual vein had become the main spiritual vein of the Academy of Wu Nian hundreds of years ago. The secondary spirit meridian was located at the back of Intentionless Mountain. After the seal was lifted, the two of them entered the back of the mountain directly. Not long after, the two of them arrived at an open area. This is a spirit vein. Lu Chen looked around curiously. It was different from what he had imagined. A sea of clouds explained, nameless, the secondary spirit vein is actually a spirit gathering array set up by the people of Zhongxiangu. Look at this large array, there are a total of 9 first-level array cores, and below each first-level array core are 9 second-level array cores, and so on. There are a total of 4 levels and 6,561 sub-array cores. Lu Chen looked at the flow of spirit qi everywhere. Although there were many formation eyes, they were very regular and could be said to be clear at a glance. Overall, this spirit gathering array was like a big tree with luxuriant branches and leaves. It was unlike those spirit sealing arrays, where the arrangement of each formation eye was as complicated as possible in order not to be destroyed, making it impossible for people to start. After these formation eyes are placed with spirit sources, the spirit qi can be gathered by the higher level formation eyes, layer by layer, and form the final artificial spirit vein. A sea of clouds walked to the front of an array. A dim beast pill was suspended in the formation eye here. A sea of clouds took the beast pill and looked at it. Nameless, this is a level 2 divine beast pill, but it looks like its spirit qi has been exhausted. Lu Chen looked around. The beast pills on many formation eyes were dim, and many formation eyes were even empty. In the past 6 months, the spirit vein has been sealed, and the main array has gathered a lot of spirit qi. It should be able to last for 2 to 3 months, but the extent of the depletion of the spirit sources seems to be somewhat beyond my expectations. A sea of clouds' eyes were full of anxiety. I must find a way to get more spirit sources as soon as possible, Lu Chen suddenly asked. Old Sea, didn't you say that some magic treasures can also be used as spirit sources? Why haven't I seen any magic treasures? Spirit sources magic treasures. They've all been divided. Only these beast pills are left. A sea of clouds shook his head and sighed. Lu Chen stepped forward and patted a sea of clouds' shoulder. It's okay. If we don't have any spirit sources magic treasures, we can get them in the future. For now, let's use beast pills as a substitute. I think the effect of this spirit gathering array should be good. With more than 6,000 formation eyes, it should be considered a big array. Yes, it was arranged by the masters of Zhongxian Gu. If it weren't for this array, Thoughtless would have been lonely hundreds of years ago. That's good. Let's use this as a transition first. After the big hunting match, we'll get more beast pills. The next day, a sea of clouds didn't go to recruit new people. He received news that his former mentor had arrived this morning. This time, a total of 5 mentors came. 4 of them were the old mentors of Thoughtless Academy, and one of them was a sea of clouds' close friend. In fact, after the academy closed down, those mentors who had been in Thoughtless Academy for decades, or even longer, were even more reluctant to join other academies. They had been in the Wuxia Academy for decades. In their opinion, the Wuxia Academy was already their home. Once the academy closed down, these old seniors would have to go to other academies and start all over again. It was not easy for anyone to accept this. A sea of clouds brought these people to Lu Chen and introduced them one by one. Nameless, I know these people very well. When they were in Thoughtless Academy, they were very strong. And when they were in the academy, they were very responsible. This is Big Dream Saiji, a 6-star Theo the Great. This is the 1,000-stone bow, divine archery, sword manipulation, and martial god. 6-star Theo the Great, 5-star Theo the Great, Lan Ji, a 2-star elemental sorcerer and talisman array master. 5-star Theo the Great, Long Xiang, a 2-star beast manipulation and spiritual manipulation. This is my good friend. He used to be a great mentor of another academy. He originally planned to retire, but now I've pulled him over. A sea of clouds pulled an old man with a white beard and said, "Let me introduce you. This is the 7-star Theo the Great, Master Yi Tian, a 3-star puppet master, a pharmacist, and a blasting master." Lu Chen's eyes widened. 5 people, covering 9 major professions, and the lowest was the 5-star Theo the Great. If a sea of clouds, the former dean of Thoughtless Academy, was included, the teaching staff of the Demonic Academy was basically formed. Yi Tian sized up Lu Chen, then said to a sea of clouds, "A sea of clouds, are you sure you want us old guys to follow this little kid?" A sea of clouds laughed. "Yi Tian, do you still doubt my judgment? If we didn't believe in your judgment, we wouldn't have come at all." Saiji didn't look old at all. He was big and burly, like a tank. It's just that Nameless Dean is more. Saiji didn't know how to describe it. Lu Chen smiled and stood up. Weak? Saiji could only nod. He was indeed weak. Yi Tian said, "For immortal cultivators, physical damage is a big taboo. Nameless is missing his left arm, and Nameless doesn't look too good. There should be other symptoms on his body. Besides, you're only a 1-star great cultivator. Nameless, please don't take offense. We old guys have actually planned to retire, but a sea of clouds insisted, so we agreed to come and take a look. Now that we've seen him, we really don't have much confidence." Yes, the strength of the dean often determines the upper limit of the academy's development. Even though you have a lot of geniuses here, when the academy has a ranking, the dean's strength is also an important part of the academy's ranking. If the academy's ranking isn't high, the development of the students will naturally be hindered. You really have a self-created concept? I don't believe it now. In the face of all kinds of doubts, Lu Chen was already prepared. He smiled and said to everyone. First of all, I have a concept skill called creation. I set up a concept space in the martial arts practice field, which is specially for the disciples to practice. As for my personal strength, it's reasonable for you to have scruples. I don't want to explain too much. The big hunting match is just around the corner. I need to preserve my strength, so it's inconvenient for me to show it. Yi Tian frowned. If you don't explain or show it, how do you expect us to be convinced? Lu Chen said indifferently, if you believe in the vision of a sea of clouds, it's better to go to the big hunting match with us. You can naturally verify my strength with your own eyes. Chapter 942. Yi Tian and the others stayed, but they did not join the demonic academy for the time being. They stayed in the demonic academy as guests. The next day, Yi Tian and the others wanted to see the situation of the divine demons' recruitment. Lu Chen and a sea of clouds took several mentors to the recruitment office. After seeing the lively scene at the demonic academy recruitment office, several mentors seemed to be a little shaken. As mentors, students with excellent qualifications were very attractive. Although the demonic academy was surprisingly established, the threshold was extremely high. Those who could enter were almost all disciples with excellent qualifications. After returning from the academy, these mentors got along well with the disciples. Years of habit had made them accustomed to passing on their experience. Lu Chen and a sea of clouds saw this and were secretly delighted. I estimate that even if they don't get good results in the big hunting match, they are very likely to stay. A sea of clouds said confidently, these disciples are very excellent. As mentors, it is a kind of attraction to be able to teach such disciples. Lu Chen smiled slightly. I hope so too. If they can join the academy before the big hunting match, it will also be good for our results. A sea of clouds looked at Lu Chen. Nameless, you are wrong. We are not young anymore. Although we are all immortal cultivators and have a much longer lifespan than ordinary people, if we don't step on the path of immortality, we will always be mortals. According to different races and planets, the lifespan of each person varies a lot. But in the end, we all have a limit. Lu Chen frowned. Old C. I have something I don't understand. You and I don't need to be so polite. If there is anything you don't understand, just say it. I think most of the people from the 6th layer of heaven are young. Also, I have a good friend in the 5th layer of heaven. She is already more than 300 years old, but she still looks very young. Why are there so many seniors in the 6th layer of heaven? A sea of clouds nodded slowly. It seems that you really came from an unorthodox background. In fact, the lower the level, the easier it is to stay young. Do you know why? Lu Chen shook his head. Nameless, every time you break through, and I'm talking about breaking through a major realm, do you feel like you've been reborn? Lu Chen hurriedly nodded. Although he had only broken through twice, that feeling was still fresh in his memory. That's right. Every time one is reborn, one's physical skills can be improved. A person's age is nothing more than a number. The real way to determine whether a person is old or young is not by age, but by the body's functions. As long as you can break through in time, even if you are a few hundred years old, your body will still be in the state of a young man. But in the later stages, like us, Theo the Great, it is very difficult to break through small realms, let alone major realms. And with the passage of time, even if our physical bodies are far superior to ordinary people, we will eventually grow old. Lu Chen finally understood why there were so many elders in the 6th heaven. Nameless, your physical body is in a very serious abnormal state, and our old age is an even more serious abnormal state. Even if we break through in the future, our upper limit is already lower than the young people. And because of this, Yi Tian and the others thought of going into seclusion. There is no hope of breaking through. The sixth heaven is a sacred place for cultivation. However, the sixth heaven has another name, it is called the half-immortal tomb. A sea of clouds said, without entering the immortal sect, there are countless experts who have fallen in this heaven domain. Wuxia couldn't help but widen his eyes. This sixth heaven is really strange. Oh, right. A sea of clouds suddenly said, I've told you so much, but there are two sides to the story. You can't look down on the older people. Although our physical bodies are in a state of decline, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Moreover, many top experts are still breaking through. The older the person, the more likely it is that his level is extremely high. He just needs more time to break through. It doesn't mean that he is in his old age and unable to fight. Once he breaks through, he will be full of energy again. You must remember this. Wuxia frowned slightly. Old C, if others don't provoke me, I won't look for trouble. But you also said that you have the opportunity to break through. Why don't you continue to cultivate now? Hahaha, cultivation is not that simple. At our level, 1 star is hundreds of thousands of spiritual energy. Firstly, it is limited by the distill scroll, and secondly, it is limited by the fighting soul's upper limit. It is not something that can be improved overnight. Wuxia nodded. It seemed that in the sixth heaven, the fighting soul's upper limit on the body's attributes began to show. His fighting soul only had 4.5 million spiritual energy. Plus, he had the celestial demon origin cultivation method, so the speed of improvement was not slow. For a period of time, it should not limit his growth. But in order to not be limited by the fighting soul's attributes in the future, he still had to improve the fighting soul's spiritual energy when he had time. From a sea of clouds, Wuxia understood that even if Tian and the others were willing to help in the big hunting match, the help they could provide was not particularly great. Old C, the big hunting match is in a few days. You have participated in it before. What do you think we need to pay attention to? I don't need to say more about demons and ghosts. The main thing to pay attention to is the other academies. Said a sea of clouds. Although the big hunting match does not allow killing between academies, in order to compete for the rankings, the major academies will do anything. Traps along the way, leading powerful demons into the opponent's team, and other means are endless. There are only 50 people from each academy participating in the big hunting match, including the dean and mentors. Not only do we need to fight demons, but we also need to be wary of other academies. We are in the limelight now, and it is very likely that we will become the target of public criticism. Moreover, there are too many academies that are willing to be the pawns of the Purple Heaven Palace. With their support, I am afraid that it will not be strange if those academies directly attack us. The Purple Heaven Palace was forced to retreat by us, but they have not left the academy. It seems that they are waiting for an opportunity to attack. Wuxia nodded. The people of the Purple Heaven Palace were cautious, and they did need to be extra vigilant. It seemed that this big hunting match was extremely dangerous. However, as the number of people in the academy increased, Wuxia had to replenish the spiritual source of the artificial spiritual meridian as soon as possible. A sea of clouds also knew about Wuxia's situation. Otherwise, he would definitely persuade Wuxia to give up this big hunting match. Nameless, we need to be extra cautious. As for the rankings, in my opinion, whether we can fight for it or not is secondary. Wuxia nodded. Okay, I know. During this time, we should focus on enrollment and then select 48 people to participate in the big hunting match. Okay, I will do the work of Tian and the others. I think they will join the academy sooner or later. Even if the combat power of us old bones is reduced, after all, our levels are still there. If we are there, it will be safer. Chapter 943. In the blink of an eye, there was only 1 day left before the big hunting match. The size of the demonic academy had expanded to 184 people. In addition to the secondary spiritual vein, the demonic academy had unsealed the mountain defense array, the sutra pavilion, some accommodation areas, and more teaching pavilions. The mountain defense array was still functioning normally. With the spiritual vein and the mountain defense array, the demonic academy could be regarded as a real academy. There were only some basic books in the sutra pavilion. The advanced techniques had already been auctioned to the major academies. The sutra pavilion was just a useless shell. There was also good news. After a sea of clouds fanned the flames left and right, the 4 mentors of Thoughtless Academy had agreed to join the demonic academy. After all, they were grateful to Lu Chen for saving the last dignity of the Academy of Thoughtless Academy. It was understandable for them to stay. Only Yi Tian was still in a wait-and-see state. Early in the morning, as soon as Lu Chen went out, he found that the 4 mentors had already begun to organize the students for morning exercises. Morning exercises seemed to be a tradition of the Academy of Thoughtless Academy. The 4 mentors and a sea of clouds all maintained this habit. It was a little cold in the morning, but 200 students were already neatly sitting cross-legged in the martial arts practice field. Be calm, your heart is like still water, look at your heart, and look at the sky. Big Dream Saiji read slowly, his voice was loud but extremely stable. There are stars in the sky, and people have elixirs. The stars are ethereal, and the elixirs are vast. Everything has aura, either like gossamer or like a tiger. Observe it with your heart, observe it, and guide the aura into the elixir for your own use. A sea of clouds saw Lu Chen and walked over. Are you leaving today? Lu Chen nodded. A sea of clouds said, there are not many people in our academy. Others can watch the battle in the fantasy map. I have already arranged the participants. Thousand Stone Bao, Long Xiang, me, and Yi Tian. Yi Tian will go with us as a guest. The other 45 people, according to the ranking of the test results, the worst is 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Lanji and Saiji will lead the other disciples to watch the battle. Lu Chen took a deep breath. Alright, since it's our first time participating in an activity, it's not a bad idea to go together. In any case, the academy has the Great Protective Mountain Array, so there's no need to worry about losing anything. After the morning exercise, let's set off together. Not long after, the morning training ended. There were exactly 190 people in whatever academy. 184 students, 6 instructors, and a guest instructor, Yi Tian, stepped on the journey to the Nether Prison Big Hunt. On the way, the disciples who were not participating in the competition activated soul and body as one and summoned 3 mounts to carry all the teachers and students of the academy. Junior brother, where did you get this heaven-shaking roar? I want one too. Xiao Zhan patted his junior brother's shoulder. In just a few days, this fellow had already become familiar with everyone in the academy. Senior brother, don't tease me. I know you have better things. I really don't have one. Let me tell you, I think I got my mount from a level 2. It's outdated. Senior martial brother, if I tell you this, will you bring me to the Heavenly Beast Mountain to get Mount Spirit pills in the future? That's nothing. When I'm strong enough, I'll bring you with me. By the way, I also want to improve my Purple Tail Elite Guards. Lu Chen also wanted to ask where the Heavenly Beast Mountain was and whether his 9 wings could be improved. However, a sea of clouds and the others were discussing tactics with him, so they didn't have time for now. Nameless, when the competition starts, we need to choose the path. When the time comes, we'll take this path. A sea of clouds pointed at a small path on the map. You can't fly in the Nether Prison, so you can only walk. This path is rugged and narrow. If you enter this path first, almost no one will dare to follow you. Yes, because they're afraid that we'll set traps or something. Moreover, this path leads directly to District 8, so it's very convenient. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Such a good path. Won't everyone fight for it? That's for sure. In the big hunting match, the first segment is also called Student Paving the Way. Each academy will send a disciple with the teleportation array issued by the big hunting match. After this student chooses the best teleportation point, the other students can directly teleport to that location. If our paving student can reach this path first, as long as we teleport in time, the people behind will have to choose other paths. Lu Chen nodded, then raised his head and looked at the students who were chatting together. All the participants in the competition were on the same mount, so it was easy to find people. Lu Chen asked loudly, "Hey, stop chatting. Let me ask you, who can take the first place in paving the way? There's a job so soon. Are you going? If not, I'll do it. Why are you so insensible? Senior Marshal Brother hasn't said anything yet. Sit down." Gray Crow was a little hesitant. He knew very well that each academy would send out strong students. But on their side, the mission of the three heroes was still very important. The main task was to hunt monsters. If they used soul-body fusion while paving the way, it would certainly have a big impact on the future hunt. Gray Crow stood up. Paving the way is a competition of speed, but we also have to save our strength for the later hunt. Who doesn't use soul-body fusion? Do you have the confidence to be stronger than others? If they didn't use soul-body fusion, it would not be so easy to win. At this time, more than 30 people suddenly stood up. Senior Marshal Brother, I can try. Senior Marshal Brother, I have confidence. Gray Crow was speechless. What kind of people were these? They said they wouldn't use soul-body fusion, but the result was as if they didn't say anything. When other academies said that they wanted to participate in paving the way, everyone lowered their heads. These people were more stubborn than the other. If he wasn't an old disciple, he really couldn't mix with them. Ku, that's not it. Can you not be so enthusiastic? The other academies want to participate in paving the way. I think they are all old disciples. If they think their movement techniques aren't as good as mine, then they shouldn't participate this time. With a reference, it was much easier. Everyone had been comparing notes in the past few days, so these fellows had some confidence in their hearts. Finally, 7-8 people sat down. Bai Yi almost burst out laughing on the side. Senior Marshal Brother, there are still over 20 junior martial brothers and sisters who think their movement techniques are better than yours. Hey, each and every one of you, it seems like I've been too gentle. Don't you know that your senior martial brother's movement technique is very strong? Gray Crow gritted his teeth. I can't stand you all. You can see for yourselves. Of the people standing, those who don't think they are the strongest can sit down. This move was very useful. After comparing with each other, the disciples began to sit down. In the end, there were only 3 people left. Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, and Yi Fan. The 3 of them looked at each other and began to calculate in their hearts. If they were to compete in movement techniques with these 2 fellows, who would be stronger? Then no one sat down. Gray Crow also had a headache. He could only helplessly look at Lu Chen. Lu Chen revealed a faint smile. Geniuses, how could they be called geniuses if they weren't confident? If he was a student, he would also be standing right now. How about this? This is only the first segment. The later part of the hunt is the most important. Chu Tian, you have a steady way of doing things. We will strive to be steady in the first segment. You can go. Yes, Principal. Chu Tian winked at Xiao Zhan and Yi Fan, then ran over to Lu Chen and the other teachers. Chu Tian came over. Lu Chen asked, do you know the rules? Senior Marshal Brother told us before, so we know the rules. We should be taking the path to Area 8. Lu Chen nodded in satisfaction. Chu Tian was indeed worthy of being called Chu Tian. He was very steady. Can we take it? Lu Chen asked. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile, it's already in the bag. On the side, Tian witnessed the entire process of selection. It was very casual. It was hard to imagine that the other academies would carefully consider and compare the left and right academies to pave the way. But when it came to the demonic academy, they just casually chose one. This is also possible. Can these fellows win? Chapter 944. The Nether Prison was located on the west side of the Xingyuan continent and was originally connected to the mainland. Later, people were afraid that the demons in the Nether Prison would come out and hurt people, so they cut off the area connecting the Nether Prison and the mainland and dug a waterway to cut it off from the mainland. They directly cut off the mainland. A sea of clouds said that it was the arm of a powerful person from the Zhongxian Gu. That person's strength really shocked Lu Qin. This is the so-called splitting mountains and splitting seas. Lu Qin narrowed his eyes slightly. Would he be able to reach this step in the future? The Nether Prison area was located on one side of the mainland. At this time, a large number of mounts could be seen rushing over. In the sea area in front of the venue of the competition, a huge scroll floated. It could be seen from afar that it was the map of the 12th district of the Nether Prison. To be precise, it was a 3D map. The scroll showed mountains and streams. From time to time, the figures of birds and beasts flitted by, and then quickly disappeared into the forest. Nameless, that is the illusion realm map. The disciples who are not participating in the competition can watch the whole competition through the illusion realm map. Lu Qin frowned slightly. Aren't they afraid that the disciples outside will send messages to their own people? They can't. There is a very strong array outside the Nether Prison to prevent demons from escaping and hurting people. At the same time, it also blocks communication devices such as voice transmission talismans. Lu Qin nodded. Then if someone is killed in there, won't others be able to see it? A sea of clouds explained, although the competition does not encourage competition between schools, even if you violate the rules, you will only be disqualified. If some schools want to kill you, they won't care about disqualification. Lu Qin nodded. There were no laws or regulations in the Jiutian to speak of. He couldn't help but look at Yi Fan behind him. According to his and a sea of clouds' deduction, Purple Sky Palace would not let go of this opportunity. They had to be more careful. A sea of clouds had already registered. When they arrived at the venue of the competition, Daming Saiji led the other academies to the spectator area, while Lu Qin and the others led the participating disciples to the preparation area. At this moment, the participating teams were all standing on the seashore. The rocks on the seashore were as neat as a straight line. Back then, when the mighty Zhongxian Gu split open the land and sea, the traces left behind were still very moving. 200 to 300 meters away from the opposite shore was the legendary Netherworld Prison. During this period, there was a man in white with a big hunting match sign hanging on his chest. He was a staff member of the organizer. He came to Lu Qin to register information. Demonic Academy, Lower House. Have you chosen the person who will pave the way for your students? Long Xiang said, it's been decided. Chu Tian, come over. Chu Tian walked over. The staff member looked at Chu Tian and frowned slightly. A newcomer? Are you sure you want to send him? Long Xiang didn't say much. He just nodded in confirmation. Since they were sure, the staff member didn't say much. He took out a talisman and said to Long Xiang, let all the participating team members inject a trace of spirit energy into this array talisman. It will be easier to teleport later. Long Xiang was also an old man. He nodded and said, understood. Then, the staff member handed the talisman to Chu Tian and said, this is a teleportation array talisman. It can only be used in the Netherworld Prison. After the competition starts, the Netherworld Prison's defensive array will be activated for 10 minutes. When you enter the Netherworld Prison, you can use it. As for where you use it, that's up to you. Chu Tian carefully put away the talisman. Lu Chen saw that there were staff members in every team. There were at least a few hundred participating teams. Whether it was the preparation area or the spectator area, there were many staff members. Lu Chen turned to a sea of clouds and said, "Old sea, what's the background of the organizer?" "The Heavenly Music Pavilion. They have one immortal academy, 8 sacred academies, and more than 20 academies under their banner. They are considered a powerful force in the nearby continents." Lu Chen frowned slightly. More than 30 academies under the Heavenly Music Pavilion? And they were only a little famous in the nearby continents. How big was the 6th heaven? The Demonic Academy came early. After that, a large number of academies came. The 1,000-mile sea wall was gradually filled with teams of academies. Nameless, after the competition starts, the Heavenly Music Pavilion will announce the results of the top 10. "Pay attention when the time comes," Thousand Stone Bao said. The results are divided into 2 parts. One is the result of killing demons, and the other is the result of going deep into the 12th district. For example, if someone enters the high-level area first, they will announce it. However, they won't announce the person's location. You must pay attention to this information. A sea of clouds looked at Thousand Stone Bao and patted him on the shoulder. "Old Qian, why are you so nervous? Didn't you tell Nameless all this before? It's not our first time participating." Thousand Stone Bao smiled awkwardly. He was indeed nervous. "Hey, we used to represent the Sacred Academy of Wunyan. However, this is the first time the Demonic Academy is participating in the competition as a whole. Although it's not officially organized, it's still quite influential. These children are all good seedlings. As a mentor, I feel a lot of pressure. Moreover, we all know that this big hunting competition is not just a simple hunt for us." Long Xiang walked over. "Old Qian, don't be so stressed. Believe in yourself and the Demonic Academy." Thousand Stone Bao nodded heavily. On the other side, Xiao Zhan and Yi Fan came to Chu Tian's side. "Senior, this is the Demonic Academy's first competition. I didn't expect you to steal the credit." Xiao Zhan looked unhappy. Yi Fan also shook his head. "Am I not steady enough?" Chu Tian laughed. "Yi Fan, the dean will never let you participate. Don't forget, there are many academies that are willing to be dogs of the Purple Sky Palace." These were all smart people. Naturally, they could guess this. Yi Fan nodded. His eyes were cold. "I know. I told the dean about this, but he insisted on participating in the competition. Since the dean has decided, we can only be careful now. Even if I have to risk my life, I will never let them touch the Demonic Academy." "Junior, don't say such things. If they dare to touch you, I, Xiao Zhan, will never stand by and watch. Don't talk to me about the Purple Sky Palace or the Green Sky Palace. I will still trample them." Chu Tian also said, "Junior Yi Fan, you weren't my junior in the past. Naturally, I wouldn't meddle in other people's business. However, now that you call me senior, Chu Tian will never let anyone touch you." Yi Fan looked at the two of them. A warm current flowed through his heart. "Thank you, senior." There were still a few hours before the competition. Lu Chen looked back at the students. These guys were fooling around and didn't seem nervous at all. Mobilization before the competition. It seemed that he could save it. It didn't seem to be useful. 3 hours later, the organizer used the Hongzhong talisman to speak. There are still 10 minutes before the Nether Prison hunting competition. All participating academies, please pay attention. The Nether Prison defense array will be activated in 10 minutes. Please maintain order in the audience area. This competition will last for 7 days. It will begin soon. Hundreds of staff members stood beside each academy's array. They held green flags in their hands, ready to wave them at any time. Chu Tian walked to the front of the team. He looked around and saw that the students from other academies had also stepped forward. Were they all strong? When the strong met, the brave would win. Lu Chen took a deep breath and looked at the nether prison opposite him. Very good, it's about to begin. Chapter 945. The several hundred staff members received the order at the same time and moved in unison, waving their flags at the same time. In that instant, Chu Tian suddenly disappeared from his spot and in the blink of an eye, he had already charged out. "Senior brother, you can do it." The disciples behind him shouted. At the same time, the disciples from the other academies also charged out. In an instant, there were several hundred figures charging out of the sea. What was interesting was that the paths of the disciples were mostly converging towards a certain location. The disciples who were originally scattered all over the place were now gathering together at an extremely fast speed. Between 2 points, a straight line was the shortest, they naturally understood this. The path they chose was the best path that a sea of clouds had mentioned. Since they wanted to enter the same location, they naturally had to get a good position from the start, so everyone used their movement skills to seize the initiative. Only in front of the nether prison, it was the most crucial moment. "You want to steal from Father, the demon god barrier. Come out for me." Someone angrily shouted. Suddenly, 50 meters in front of the nether prison, a 100-meter-tall two-headed war god phantom appeared. The war god phantom held a battle axe in each hand and suddenly the two axes collided, creating a fierce explosion of spiritual energy. Powerful spiritual energy fluctuations instantly forced out the other disciples who were in the midst of displacement. The disciples opening the path were purely competing in speed? Clearly not. You think you can block me like this? Naive. Halberd Spear Dragon, Martial God Star Body. Making a move so quickly, you really think you can block everyone? Idiot. Breaking Water Sword Intent, Reverse Water Spinning Kill. Open for Father. Everyone else, scram for me. An expert was truly an expert. Not only did he break the demon god barrier, he also attacked the surrounding competitors. In a flash, the focus of the competition was at the entrance. Several hundred skills had already exploded as the various experts displayed their abilities. Not only did they have to take the lead, they also had to stop the others. The battle was very complicated. As expected, the various academies have sent out strong disciples. They must take the shortcut to the 8th district. A sea of clouds said with a frown, this kind of chaotic battle, it's hard to predict the results. Lu Chen's eyes were locked onto Chu Tian the entire time. He was the same as everyone else before, falling into a very complicated battle. As soon as they broke through the divine and infernal barrier, there were many more barriers at the entrance. Moreover, there were all kinds of skills attacking indiscriminately. This group of people clearly had the intention of not letting anyone pass before they did. As a newcomer, Chu Tian couldn't gain any advantage in a chaotic battle with these famous veterans. The disciples of the demonic academy were also worried for Chu Tian. Senior brother. Xiao Zhan's heart was burning with anxiety. Do your best. The battle was very intense and it was very difficult for anyone to break through. When someone approached the entrance, they would be submerged in a pile of skills. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Could Chu Tian hold on in such a complicated situation? Speaking of which, since the competition for this entrance was so fierce, it was better to enter from other entrances. It was faster to take a detour. No wonder some people chose to avoid this place from the beginning and directly enter from the side. Even if the detour was much slower, it was not impossible to snatch that shortcut. If this dragged on, they might really be overtaken by those who took a detour. Chu Tian kept close to the entrance. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. That guy seemed to be following a disciple of the Saint Institute. That disciple of the Saint Institute was really something. All the skills blocking him couldn't completely stop him, and he resolved them one by one. At this moment, he was very close to the entrance. Chu Tian followed behind him, maintaining a position close to the front. He didn't attack anyone, but was busy dealing with the surrounding skills. At this moment, that disciple of the Saint Institute suddenly jumped up. "You want to stop me? Dream on." Sky water shadow tracing. After that, that person's body emitted electric currents and he rushed to the entrance like lightning. "Oh no, he's going in. Water circulation technique. I'll beat you out." Lotus flower water curtain. An unknown master made a move. Suddenly, a water wall rose from the sea and stood in front of the entrance. Water entanglement. A large number of tentacles stretched out from the water wall. They spun rapidly and formed a whirlpool, filling the surrounding air with water vapor. Law attracting heavenly thunder, thunder array. A talisman flew over and hit this space. Suddenly, several thunderbolts fell from the sky and struck this space. Relying on the water vapor in the space, the thunderbolts spread crazily in the area. Not long after, the person in the water shadow tracing was blasted out by the thunderbolts. The moment he was blasted out, another figure flashed past him. "Thanks for blocking the attack for me." Idiot, the disciple of the Saint Institute was furious. That guy was the one who had been following him. He had just forced that guy back with a sword and kept the lead. But who knew that he would be blasted out when he was about to enter the entrance? Damn it. Someone is going in. That person was injured and couldn't breathe, so he could only shout. "Want to run? Eat my law attracting heavenly thunder, thunder, killing Rakshasa gate." Chu Tian made a move. For stone gates rose from the bottom of the sea. Chu Tian had used this move in the testing space before. Its defensive power was not bad, but the 4 stone gates couldn't block the thunderbolts. Chu Tian didn't know why this guy was using this move in the testing space. But Chu Tian hadn't used up his skill yet. Hunting. Suddenly, countless arms stretched out from the 4 giant stone gates and grabbed at the disciples who were blocking the way. The arms on the gates were as many as the hairs on a cow. They moved quickly and fiercely. There was an eye in the palm, making threatening gestures. What skill is this? The arms can't be cut off. Defend and counterattack. Don't let the arms grab you. The palms can absorb spiritual energy. You can't use skills for a while. Xiao Zhan's eyes widened. He had seen Chu Tian break into the testing space before. At that time, this guy only used the killing Rakshasa gate and didn't use hunting. But then again, the sword shadows in the testing space were sword shadows, and they would split when attacked. They didn't need hunting, so it was reasonable that Chu Tian didn't use it. But now it was completely different. The killing Rakshasa gate not only had defensive effects, but hunting could also restrict people. The Thunder Mage who had cast the spell before was the focus of attention. Facing the attack of the arms, he had to give up on releasing the thunder array and quickly dodge. His movements were fast enough to avoid the arms. But when he came back to his senses, he found that his target had disappeared. Damn it! He rushed in. At the same time, Chu Tian had entered the nether prison and was running toward the shortcut. He smiled as he ran. A bunch of rookies. Tian still couldn't believe that the newcomer Chu Tian had actually taken the lead and entered the nether prison first. Was this someone they casually selected? Many of the surrounding students looked at the demonic academy with resentment and jealousy. The demonic academy's students seemed to be used to this kind of gaze. They were all very calm. Nameless, Chu Tian should be reaching the shortcut soon, a sea of clouds hurriedly reminded. Lu Chen nodded. He stood up and turned to look at the students. In the end, they were still chatting. I knew senior brother Chu would be first. I knew that too. But senior brother Chu is really wretched. He keeps following others. He is indeed a little wretched. Lu Chen also had a headache. The other students were already shocked by Chu Tian's performance, and these guys were still saying that their senior brother was wretched. What kind of people were they? Get ready. Get ready to go in. Lu Chen said. Hearing the dean's words, these students' eyes were filled with excitement. Someone from a nearby school saw this group of people and their eyes were filled with uncontrollable thirst. Their brows furrowed. Am I imagining things? I'm so nervous that I'm about to die. Why do I feel that these guys from the lower house are more excited than the strongest students from the Sacred Academy? Chapter 946. Not long after, a teleportation gate appeared in front of the Divine Magic Academy. That brat Chu Tian had arrived. Lu Chen led the team and slowly stepped into the portal. Chu Tian was sitting on a rock and waiting. When he saw Lu Chen and the others, he hurried over. Sir. Lu Chen smiled. Chu Tian was indeed the senior brother of the newcomers. He was really steady. This guy hadn't even used soul body as one. Thank you for your hard work. No problem. Chu Tian smiled. A sea of clouds finally showed the joy that a normal dean should have. He couldn't help but praise Chu Tian. You brat, well done. How did you know to follow the people of the Donglin Academy? Chu Tian chuckled. Those from the Sacred Academy should be acquainted with each other. I noticed that the others seem to be taking special care of that little brat. I guessed that he should be one of the stronger ones among them. Hence, I decided to follow him. Long Xiang patted Chu Tian's shoulder. In such a chaotic situation, he could still keep a clear mind and quickly come up with tactics. There are not many people who can do this. Thousand Stone Bao was also full of praise. He is brave and resourceful. Besides, the killing Rakshasa sex move is very powerful. It should be an extremely rare high-level defensive and counter-control skill. The timing was perfect. Chu Tian's opening this time is really a textbook example. A bunch of mentors were praising Chu Tian in front of him. They were not afraid that Chu Tian would be proud. However, Chu Tian was indifferent, as if the words, "These are all basic operations," were written on his face. Black Armor King shook his head and said to Grey Crow, "Brother, I have decided to reduce Chu Tian's interest to 5%. Alas, in 2 years, we will have to rely on him. Let's build a good relationship with him first." Grey Crow nodded. It's time to take him to the Blossoms Garden to broaden his horizons. Bai Yi glared at him. If you want to go, go by yourself. Don't lead him astray. If you want to do something, take him. I will tell the mentors. Chu Tian successfully completed the task. Then, a sea of clouds asked people to set up traps at the entrance. Many of the students had battle pets. Naturally, they had learned a lot of trap skills. He didn't know where this group of people got their hands on the opportunity, but the level of their traps wasn't low. After all, they were too embarrassed to take out the low-level ones. After finishing their preparations, everyone immediately followed the path forward. There were basically no monsters on this path, and it led directly to the 8th district, so the team moved very quickly. An hour later, a voice suddenly sounded from an unknown place. Real-time battle situation, hunt ranking, Eastern Lin Sacred Institute, 2 low-level first-rank magical beasts. Imperial Sacred Institute, 2 low-level first-rank divine beasts. Phoenix Sacred Institute, 1 low-level first-rank divine beast each. North Pole Sacred Institute, 1 low-level first-rank divine beast, regional ranking, lower courtyard of the God Fiend Academy, District 11. Currently, the other academies are all in District 12 and will not be ranked. The hunting ranking was meaningless now. This result would definitely be surpassed. What was important now was the regional ranking. At present, the Demonic Academy was far ahead. No wonder everyone wants to take this shortcut. They don't even need to fight, and they've already shaken off the other academies. Lu Chen sighed. As they ventured deeper, the path became rugged and difficult to traverse. Of course, they only had to face the difficult path, but the other academies had already begun to fight monsters and monsters. The hunting ranking was constantly changing. Sometimes, some academies would be on the list. Of course, no one paid attention to the hunting ranking now. The major academies couldn't wait to not fight a single monster and directly enter the deeper areas. The only reason they were still updating the ranking was that there were too many monsters in the Nether prison. They couldn't avoid them even if they wanted to. Old Sea of Clouds, we've been walking for 2 hours. We still haven't entered District 10. Lu Chen asked. We still have to walk for 2 more hours. A Sea of Clouds said, District 12 is the outermost area, but it's actually not that big. You can probably think of it as District 12 being the outer layer of the Nether prison. It's also where the weakest monsters gather. Starting from District 11, it's the true extent of the Nether prison. It's easier for us here. The other teams still have to pass through the Miasma Swamp and the Stone Formation. It's impossible to reach District 10 without at least 10 hours. Let's go. Let's try to reach District 9 first tonight and have a good rest. We can start hunting in District 8 tomorrow morning. There's plenty of time. Lu Chen nodded and led the team on their way. Unknowingly, it was already night. After trekking for several hours on the rugged path, the Demonic Academy finally reached District 9. A few teachers led Grey Crow and the others to an area suitable for camping. They arranged for the students to take turns guarding while the others camped where they were. The students took care of the trivial matters. Lu Chen was a little tired. He drank the medicine made by Lu Yi and sat there to rest. Looking at the tired Lu Chen from afar, Yi Tian frowned. Yun Hai walked over and sat beside him. Hey, Yi Tian, why are you still at your wits' end? Our academy has already snatched this path. The others probably won't be able to sleep well at this time. Yi Tian snorted. What's the use of taking this path? In the end, it still depends on the level of the prey. You just took the initiative. It doesn't mean you won. At least it means we have potential. Yi Tian sighed and looked at a sea of clouds. His eyes fell on Lu Chen who was resting in the distance. A sea of clouds, I know you have potential. These genius students are treasures in the Demonic Academy. How can I not see it? But, I'm still worried about our dean. Yi Tian nodded. He is so weak and his body is damaged. His upper limit has been locked. In the long run, how far can he lead the Demonic Academy? I'm even worried that he will delay the future of these geniuses. Besides this reason, do you have other concerns? Yes. You should know my biggest concern. Yi Tian said. We are old. I originally wanted to retire. Even if I want to join the academy now, I will definitely find a long-term one. But Divine Demon. Wunyan Academy declined. If that problem can't be completely solved, the Demonic Academy won't be able to rise. Yi Tian sighed. Even Zhongxian Guk can't solve the problem of the spirit vein. And your dean. At least he hasn't shown me that he has the ability to solve the problem of the spirit vein. Sigh, after all, I wasn't a teacher of Wunyan. Tell me, if you were me, would you rush to join? A sea of clouds took a deep breath. Yi Tian, I know. But I also believe that you will join Divine Demon in the end. You are so confident. It's not that I'm confident, it's that I have confidence in our dean. Sigh, I still don't have much hope. After all, his upper limit has been fixed. Yi Tian shook his head. Just like you and me, there is no hope for a breakthrough. It's impossible to continue. A sea of clouds looked away slightly. Yi Tian's thoughts were normal. Even if he didn't have much hope in his heart, he knew that the Purple Sky Palace would most likely arrange for people to stop them. But he still followed them, which showed that Tian was also very optimistic about Divine Demon. Contradiction, entanglement. If he were Tian, he would be like this too. In all kinds of adversity, would that person be able to carry the banner of Divine Demon? In the end, a sea of clouds couldn't predict. He patted Tian on the shoulder. It's useless to say more. We will see the result in a few days. Chapter 947. In the audience area, Lan Ji and Big Dream were not in the audience area. In the night, Big Dream took out the note that the dean had given them and opened it to read. I don't know what the dean wants to do. Big Dream was puzzled until he opened the note and read the words on it. Observe the movements of the various academies, record the academies moving towards the shortcut exit, capture the staff of the Heavenly Music Parlor and replace them with the following students. Observe secretly. There were more than a dozen names under the note. It seemed that the dean had already made arrangements. Both of them widened their eyes. In the previous preparation meetings, they had mentioned the Purple Sky Palace more than once. However, considering that the Academy's spirit vein could not be maintained for long, they could only participate in this big hunting competition. The dean and the others would naturally be more careful during the competition, but no one would have thought that this was far from the dean's plan. Before the competition, he had asked someone to send out the note. Not only did he have to guard against the enemy, but he also had to follow the clues. Both of them gasped. Directly capturing the staff of the Heavenly Music Parlor. Is the dean crazy? I'm not sure about this. Whatever, just follow the dean's plan. Tomorrow, we should be able to see which academies are moving towards the shortcut exit. The two of them quickly returned to the Demonic Academy. They noticed that the students whose names were written on the note were secretly watching them, as if they had guessed that there would be a move. Big Dream and Saiji narrowed their eyes slightly. We seem to have underestimated our dean. He hit it deeper than anyone else. The next morning, the Demonic Academy entered the 8th district through the shortcut. At this moment, Lu Chen saw the true appearance of the nether prison. The surroundings were shrouded in fog, the ground under their feet was wet, and there were puddles everywhere. The surrounding vegetation was dense, and the branches and leaves were huge. Something was moving in the distance, and the water in the pond was shaking slightly. Continue to the 7th district. At this moment, the battle situation broadcast came again. Real-time battle ranking, Ultimate Imperial Academy, 1 low-level magical beast of the 2nd level. Eastern Descent Academy, for high-level magical beasts of the 1st level. Phoenix Academy, 3 high-level magical beasts of the 1st level. North Pole Academy, 2 low-level magical beasts of the 1st level. The rule of the hunting ranking was that as long as a higher-level beast was hunted, the ranking would be based on the prey with the highest level. If the prey was of the same level, the ranking would be based on the number of beasts. I've already hunted it to the 2nd stage. Ultimate Emperor and the others should be in District 9. A sea of clouds said. It looks like they haven't slept at all. They've been rushing. As expected, Extreme Emperor and Dong Lin had both entered the 9th region. There were also several other Saint Academies. They were probably not far away from the 9th district. That's a tight bite. Xiao Zhan narrowed his eyes. Lu Chen pondered for a moment. The rank 2 Divine Beast's Beast Core was already sufficient as a basic source of spirit energy. The spirit gathering array of the Academy's secondary spirit vein had a total of over 6,000 array cores. The rank 2 Beast Core was definitely the main source of spirit energy. District 8 was mainly filled with Tier 2 intermediate demons, which was just right for him. Everyone, pay attention. We are now hunting in District 8. Lu Chen said to the students. Dean, it's only District 8 now. Isn't the level too low? Intermediate Tier 2 is already very strong. A sea of clouds said angrily. We need a lot of beast cores. This is the most suitable hunting area. Lu Chen continued, let's go to a place with more demons first. Thousand Stone Bao, Grey Crow, Black Armor King, Bai Yi, Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, the 5 of you listen to my orders. You're responsible for pulling the monsters. The rest of you activate and kill them. Nameless. Won't it be too much for 6 people to pull the monsters at the same time? A sea of clouds said worriedly. Then he whispered, we also need to be careful of the Purple Sky Palace. Lu Chen nodded. I know. We have an advantage in terms of time. They're at least 10 hours away from us. Including the time to go back and forth in the big hunting competition, we only have 4 days to hunt. We have to seize this time. A sea of clouds was still worried. Intermediate Tier 2 divine beasts can't be killed casually. Nameless. It's safer to kill them one by one. Lu Chen smiled. Old Sea, don't worry. Don't underestimate their strength. Besides, I'll keep an eye on them. Tian snorted on the side. Nameless. I think you're overestimating your students. Even the Saint Academy has to be careful in the 8th district. It's fast enough to deal with 2 or 3 at the same time. You want to deal with 6 at the same time? You don't care about the safety of your students. The strength of an intermediate Tier 2 divine beast is comparable to that of a 3 or 4-star Theo the Great. At this moment, Xiao Zhan suddenly said, Mentors, Senior Tian, I think 6 is the minimum. We have 50 people, and we can't kill 6 intermediate Tier 2 divine beasts. It's too shameful. Chu Tian also nodded. Indeed, killing 2 or 3 is too slow. It's not my style. Yi Fan shook his head and said after careful consideration, if there's not a lot of prey, let's kill them directly. Everyone else was also talking back and forth. We have 7 or 8 people, and we can't kill 1 intermediate Tier 2 divine beast. Don't look at me as the 1-star Emperor Xiu. I killed a Tier 1 divine beast with a team before. I don't believe that we can't kill an intermediate Tier 2 divine beast if we attack with all our strength. Who doesn't know how to fight above their level? At that time, my friend and I worked together to kill an advanced Tier 1 sea dragon god. So what if Theo the Great is a 3 or 4-star divine beast? If we really fight to the death, I might not lose to him. A sea of clouds and the others almost vomited blood. So, in the eyes of these students, 6 was already too conservative. Couldn't these people be more low-key? Sure enough, only the dean understood their thoughts. Lu Chen said, Old C, don't worry. Since I said there's no problem, there won't be a problem. Now is not the time to lose. Let's find a place with more prey. I know a few places where demons gather, Grey Crow said. Okay, let's go now. Not long after, the Demonic Academy people came to a smoky swamp. Through the miasma, they could vaguely see a large number of huge creatures resting in the distance. The luring team was ready, and the others were also ready to fight. They lined up in a row. Array masters and elemental mages buffed their seniors and juniors, and everyone entered battle mode. A Tier 2 divine beast strength was not to be underestimated. Back then, magical beast sovereign strength was about advanced Tier 2. It was not difficult to infer that a Tier 2 divine beast was not to be trifled with. Thousand Stone Bao led the luring team. He couldn't win against the dean and this group of crazy students, so he could only repeatedly remind them, no more than 2 per person. Try to lure 1 at a time. There must also be a gap between us. If you encounter an advanced Tier 2 divine beast, try to avoid it. Instructor Thousand Stone, we all know. Let's begin. Okay, let's go. Soon, the luring team set off. 6 figures quickly disappeared into the thick fog. Outside the field, countless people's eyes focused on the Demonic Academy. Have they started hunting officially? Well, they're only in the lower academy after all. They can only hunt tier 2 divine beasts. That's not right. What do they mean? 6 people luring monsters at the same time. Are they crazy? The Saint Academy kills monsters one by one, but they're luring 6 tier 2 divine beasts at the same time. Aren't they all newbies? They're looking to be wiped out. Their dean must be out of his mind. Does he allow students to do this? Soon, people saw huge figures swaying in the fog. 7 or 8 giant beasts were rushing toward the demonic academy. My God, how many did they lure? 7. Are they really luring them at the same time? It's over. The demonic academy is in trouble. Here, Daming and Lan Ji were paying attention to the movements of the other academies according to Lu Chen's request. As soon as they saw the situation at the demonic academy, they panicked. What's going on? Why are there so many of them? Oh no, Thousand Stone Bao saw that the situation was not right. He was about to lure the divine beasts behind him to bypass the demonic academy's position. But at this moment, he saw the dean walk to the front of the position and directly wave his sword. Senior Thousand Stone Bao, you went astray. Come this way. Others, get ready. Attack with all your strength. Chapter 948. The creatures of the nether prison were a little strange. They had strange shapes, and one could vaguely see that they were high-level beasts. However, due to the strange environment of the nether prison, their bodies had undergone huge changes. Lu Chen's gaze was fixed on the 7 demonic beasts. Among the 6, Xiao Zhan was pulling 2 of them. As expected, Xiao Zhan was the most worrisome, pulling 2 of them each. One of the reasons why the various academies didn't dare to do so was because these high-level demonic beasts were all intelligent. Although they would definitely chase after intruders, they wouldn't chase based on aggro. Sometimes, if a demonic beast discovered an ambush, they would even turn around and run away. Because of this, to pull these demonic beasts, it wasn't like the low-level heaven domains where they could just run away after hitting them once. They had to constantly entangle the demonic beasts and attack them while retreating. The demonic beasts wanted to kill them, and they had to lure the demonic beasts to the academy. Because of this, Lu Chen needed to send out the strongest newcomers. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to successfully pull the demonic beasts. Originally, the 7 demonic beasts appeared 300 meters away. After they appeared from the fog, they actually roared at each other, their huge bodies bumping into each other. It was as if they were declaring the ownership of their prey after seeing so many of them. This was the best time to focus fire on them. Lu Chen also gave the order to attack at this moment. However, suddenly, there was a change in the distance. Grey Crow and the others continued to attack the demonic beasts, luring them closer to the academy. However, the demonic beasts suddenly changed their target. They all pounced at the Black Armor King at the back. The mid-level rank 2 demonic beasts were extremely fast. Now that they suddenly burst out, they were in front of the Black Armor King in the blink of an eye. These guys. Heaven's Wrath Buddha roar. The Black Armor King didn't have time to think. He let out a roar, and a golden Buddha phantom appeared behind him. He roared at the demonic beasts, and the fierce noise almost penetrated their eardrums. In the distance, Lu Chen hurriedly ordered, "No, there's a leader here. Don't attack first." These demonic beasts acted as if they were premeditated. It looked like someone was commanding them. The students hurriedly stopped and were on high alert. In the spectator area, many people also saw this scene. The 7 beasts were still slacking off earlier, but they suddenly went on a rampage. It seems like there's a tier 2 high-grade exotic beast among them. Humph, who told the demonic academy to be so arrogant? Now there's a good show to watch. This is a group of strange beasts that live together. Their combat prowess is much stronger than 7 strange beasts that are alone. Even the Sacred Institute doesn't dare to provoke them, let alone a small lower academy. It wasn't easy for us to snatch the shortcut, but in the end, we got wiped out. Watch carefully, this is the result of being too careless. On the other side, seeing that the Black Armor King was in danger, the three heroes naturally would not stand by and do nothing. Telepathic Rain of Swords. One of the three heroes, Grey Crow, quickly attacked and a large number of flying swords shot out. Bai Yi attacked at the same time. Nerve Paralysis. A cloud of purplish-black mist wrapped around the forelimbs of the exotic beasts. This was Bai Yi's Poison Master skill. It only needed a moment to cause a temporary paralysis effect on their limbs, slowing them down. The cooperation between the three heroes was as good as ever. Once the Black Armor King was out of danger, they would be able to regain control of the situation. However, one of the headless bird beasts opened its wings and quickly blew away Bai Yi's poisonous gas. A carrion Kuei ox roared and rushed to the front, directly blocking Grey Crow's telepathic rain of swords with its body. The sword chi hit its body, and its flesh and blood flew everywhere. However, the strange thing was that the sword chi could not penetrate its body, even though it could not break its skin. Its carrion rebirth. Oh no, these strange beasts are also cooperating with each other. Fatty, retreat now. Grey Crow shouted. However, the telepathic rain of swords and nerve paralysis were both blocked. The Black Armor King had to face 7 strange beasts, so it was difficult for him to escape. At this moment, the poisonous gas that had been blown away by the bird beasts was suddenly ignited by a flame. In an instant, the purplish-black mist became a raging flame, burning toward the strange beasts. Sky-burning war fire. It was Xiao Zhan who used the war fire to ignite Bai Yi's poisonous gas, which slightly blocked the strange beast's pursuit. Then, a golden arrow rushed into the flame and directly hit the carrion Kuei ox's eye. The Thousand-Stone Bow instructor also took action in time. He finished the accumulated power and directly hit the vital part of the carrion Kuei ox. Black Armor King, retreat first. The Thousand-Stone Bow instructor shouted. The Black Armor King took advantage of the chaos and quickly escaped with a displacement skill. The 7 strange beasts were furious. They pounced out of the flames and chased after them relentlessly. In the distance, Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief. There was a small incident just now. Fortunately, these fellows reacted quickly enough. Otherwise, they would have failed to lure the strange beasts. It seemed that the headless bird was their boss, the carrion Kuei ox, which had been blinded in one eye, seemed to have gone mad. It rampaged, breaking countless rocks and trees as it chased after them. Behind it, the 6 strange beasts were also furious. They pounced toward the 6 people. Roar! Mud and rocks overturned the sea. The strange beasts behind them had already launched their attacks. The soil under the 6 people's feet instantly rose up into the sky. Sky-burning war fire. Xiao Zhan quickly activated his skill. His body was covered in war fire. His figure suddenly accelerated and rushed out of the mud. Everywhere he passed, the mud was instantly baked into dust. Follow me. Xiao Zhan shouted. At the back of the team, the Thousand-Stone Bow, Chu Tian, Yi Fan, Grey Crow, and the others continuously attacked the strange beasts behind them with sword chi, Buddhist seals, and bows. On one hand, they blocked the strange beasts, and on the other hand, they used their displacement skills to quickly retreat. Ants, you want to run? Heaven falls and earth sinks. 2 strange beasts suddenly stamped their forelimbs on the ground. The ground instantly cracked, and the cracks spread. In the blink of an eye, a giant fissure appeared in front of the 6 people. Rakshasa Gate. Chu Tian madly ran and used his skill. A giant stone gate rose from the fissure. However, this time, the stone gate actually crossed the fissure. Go through the gate. Chu Tian shouted. The strange beasts behind them moved again. Yi Fan stopped, and his palm glowed with a golden light. Junior brother, don't stop. Retreat. Yi Fan didn't move at all. You guys retreat first. I'll be right there. With a boom, Yi Fan struck out with both palms. Two giant flaming palm prints blasted toward the strange beasts. Holy Buddha bitter Buddha seal, heavenly fire pure yang seal. Seeing that he had interrupted the strange beast's skills, Yi Fan didn't stay any longer. He turned around and shouted, demonic wind ghost shadow. Then, he turned into a demonic wind and quickly caught up with the 5 people. Outside the field, the group of people was already dumbfounded. They actually ran away. Who are these people? It's fine if it's the instructor and the 3 heroes, but those 3 newcomers, are they really newcomers? How long did it take for them to have such tacit cooperation? Moreover, the 3 of them reacted quickly. As soon as the strange beasts attacked, they came up with a solution almost at the same time. They really pulled so many strange beasts. It's simply unbelievable. Don't worry. They did pull the strange beasts over, but it's still a matter of whether the demonic academy can handle them. If their disciples can't complete an instant kill, the strange beasts will rush into the formation and it'll be a massacre. Not only that, they must also be able to do an instant kill at the same time. Otherwise, it'll be difficult to deal with later. At this moment, seeing that the students were out of danger, Lu Chen raised his long sword again and shouted, I'll give you 10 seconds. Attack with all your strength. Chapter 949. This time, the demonic academy showed what it meant to go all out. Apart from the classes with war pets, the skills of the other classes were simply too much for the eye to take in. Gravity domain. 19 sword immortal forms. 10,000 swords in one. Solitary sword intent, gold element enhancement. Carefree sword art, drunken sword beckoning the moon. On the other side, 27 flying swords were suspended behind the sword rider, and his moves were endless. Spiritual cannon, explosive shot. Flame chamber, firepower bombardment. Gun body enhancement, headshot. Lu Chen couldn't help but take another look at the little girl who used the cannon. She had a cute appearance and carried a cannon that was about the same size as her. The cannon barrel was firing non-stop, and her firepower was equivalent to that of an entire regiment, ancestral realm. 5 elements soul suppressing talisman. Summoning talisman, black impermanence. Soul fire talisman. The talisman master at the side had already entered his own background music. His hand gestures changed rapidly, and all kinds of talisman papers were shot out non-stop. Some people won with more moves, but some were still accumulating power. Tree God, borrow power. Elemental awakening. All living things are for my use. Primordial tree spirit fusion. After a series of enhancements, the nature elf suddenly opened his eyes and shouted angrily, eternal green. With a boom, an incomparably huge ancient tree suddenly drilled out of the ground. Its roots and branches were intricate and wildly extended outwards. Compared to this huge tree, the 7 wild beasts were not considered big. The tree roots instantly entrenched the entire battlefield, grabbing at the ankles of those exotic beasts. Brother, lend me your wood-type spell. A person at the side shouted. Suddenly, a small black shadow flew out from his hand and instantly drilled into the tree roots, disappearing without a trace. Not long after, one of the exotic beasts on the other side suddenly rolled its eyes, and its body swayed. Voodoo? Lu Chen blinked. What kind of monsters were these students of his? Even he would have a headache if he encountered these skills. He didn't know where they got them from. He also wanted to learn that girl's spiritual cannon. Fuck, why would a dean like me covet the student's skills? Lu Chen felt a deep sense of self-reproach. At this moment, the 6 Tier 2 mid-tier exotic beasts were gradually losing their ability to resist the sea of high-tier cultivation methods. Only the headless bird was still resisting by flapping its wings. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. That guy didn't seem to be using his full strength either. No, I don't think that guy is resisting. It's trying to run. As soon as Lu Chen's voice fell, 3 figures had already shot straight into the sky. Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan and Chu Tian were working together to deal with it. 10 seconds later, the battlefield. In reality, the previous battlefield no longer existed. The ground was covered by a large number of withered tree roots. There were traces of fire, and there were also frozen corners. A large number of skills had been used, and the place was completely unrecognizable. Now there was only the giant bird left fighting Chu Tian's group of 3. The Tier 2 high-grade exotic beast was very powerful. The 3 of them actually weren't able to suppress it for the time being. However, the others had already made their move. Following that, dozens of attacks were launched into the sky. Being focused on by the Demonic Academy's genius disciples, the giant bird finally knew the taste of despair. It couldn't escape even if it wanted to. Those 3 guys were too strong. They didn't give it a chance to escape at all. It wanted to fight, but with so many skills and elemental attacks, it couldn't match them at all. While it was trembling, Yi Fan took advantage of a moment of carelessness. A palm strike landed on the bird's forehead, followed by a barrage of skills. Not long after, the giant bird's body fell from the sky. Now, the 7 exotic beasts were all gathered. Oh my god, are you guys crazy? Who was the one who shot the explosive bullet just now? They almost hit me. The flames on Xiao Zhan's body were extinguished. He shook his head and walked over. The girl chuckled. Senior brother Xiao, is my marksmanship that bad? Besides, even if I really missed, you can definitely dodge it. You think too highly of me. Xiao Zhan's forehead was covered in sweat. The 1,000-stone bow checked the corpses of the exotic beasts and brought back 7 beast cores. He handed them to Lu Chen. President, beast cores. Lu Chen put away all the beast cores. The beast cores were returned to the academy, but there were still many treasures on the exotic beasts. Lu Chen asked the students to collect materials such as claw bones, skulls, tendons, and hides. These materials could be used to refine equipment and school clothes in the future. Yi Tian looked at the busy students and frowned. He murmured, "No way, they really succeeded in hunting. This. At this moment, the broadcast of the battle situation sounded. The main change in the broadcast this time was that the Demonic Academy took first place in the hunting ranking. Lower Demonic Academy, 1 Tier 2 high-grade magical beast, ranked first for now. As time went by, the top 10 schools in the hunting and regional rankings were almost all from the Saint Academy. Only the Demonic Academy was ranked first in both hunting and regional rankings. This caused an uproar outside the field. One step ahead. They actually let a trash academy rank first in the hunting ranking? Ridiculous. After so many years, this is the first time I've encountered such a situation. What's the big deal? Although their academy is good, it's still far from the Saint Academy. As long as other academies enter the advanced area, they will soon be eliminated. Saiji and Lanji finally breathed a sigh of relief. An unreliable headmaster leading a group of unreliable students was truly frightening. Fortunately, it was just a scare. Not only that, but they also had a deeper understanding of how great the potential of the Demonic Academy was. Lanji, it seems that we underestimated everyone's strength. Maybe we can get into the top 30 in this hunting competition. Lanji nodded heavily. I'm also looking forward to it. Oh, right, don't forget what Nameless told us. Okay. In the netherworld prison, Lu Chen saw that the students took off the valuable parts of the exotic beasts and continued to lead the team deeper into the 8th district. After walking for a few minutes, Lu Chen stopped and turned around to look at the students. That place is no longer suitable for battle, so I changed places. Brother Qian, sure, I'll have to trouble you to continue leading the team. A sea of clouds widened his eyes. Nameless, don't you need to take a rest? Lu Chen looked at the students and didn't look tired at all. They haven't even activated the soul-body integration. What rest do they have? It's more important to hurry up and hunt. Yeah, great mentor, a sea of clouds, we're not tired. We just need to recover our spiritual energy. Hehe, I have spiritual energy to activate it. I don't need to recover my spiritual energy. You're so arrogant. I also have a similar skill. What was worse was that Grey Crow and the other two, Yi Fan and the other two, were already preparing the 1,000 stones bow. Dean, we're going. Xiao Zhan said and rushed out first. Yi Tian's eyelids twitched. What kind of monster academy is this? 10 minutes later, the broadcast sounded again. The demonic academy had 3 advanced level 2 exotic beasts and was far in the lead. Lu Chen had already collected 14 beast cores that were rank 2 and above. Among them, there were even 3 rank 2 advanced beast cores. He was also interested. He said to the students, it's been a long time since we've farmed. Everyone, let's go. Okay, Dean, I can't wait. Hunt, hunt. Yi Tian only felt that there was something wrong with his ears. Hunt in the 8th district of the netherworld prison. Was this what a lower house should say? Chapter 950. Real-time battle situation, hunting ranking, lower Institute of Gods and Devils, 28 second rank high-level magical beasts. Imperial Sacred Institute, 1 second rank mid-level magical beast. Eastern Advent Sacred Institute, 6 second rank low-level divine beasts. Phoenix Sacred Institute, 6 second rank low-level magical beasts. North Pole Sacred Institute, 5 second rank low-level divine beasts. Area ranking, Lower Academy of Divinity and Demons, Nether Prison District 8. Entering District 9, Imperial Academy, Eastern Academy, Phoenix Academy, Backstrike Academy. The name of the Lower Academy of Divinity and Demons was especially jarring among the other academies. They were far ahead in terms of hunting quantity and level. Hearing the results of the Lower Academy of Divinity and Demons, the Dean of the Imperial Academy couldn't help but stop in his tracks, his face full of astonishment. What? 28. Calculating the time, even if they took a shortcut, it shouldn't have been long since they entered District 8. How could they have hunted so many? The teacher behind him was also a little confused. Did the Heavenly Music Pavilion make a mistake? Even if it's us, it's impossible to hunt so many beasts in such a short time. Forget it, it's just second-order high-grade magical beasts. As long as we hunt more high-grade magical beasts, our ranking will naturally go up. The Dean looked at the road ahead. It was another miasma area. Damn it, we've wasted too much time on the road. Everyone, work harder, we must enter District 8 before resting today. At the same time, the spectators outside the arena all focused their attention on the Demonic Academy. It wasn't just because the other academies were rushing on their journey, they also avoided the beasts as much as possible. Only the Divinity and Demon Academy were slaughtering. The key point was that they were simply too satisfied with their hunting. Pulling 6 to 7 beasts in a wave, and then killing them in 10 to 20 seconds. All kinds of skills emerged one after another. It was unknown where these newcomers got so many powerful skills. The small team didn't need the guidance of the teacher at all. The 6 of them were getting more and more skilled in their coordination, and could complete the mission perfectly every time. Nameless, how many beast cores do we have? A sea of clouds. His face was already full of smiles. He was still worried before, but after so many kills, he had already forgotten about it. 312, and 28 of them are second-order high-grade. Lu Chen said, it's still not enough. The previous Beast Dawn have been absorbed and dried up. Although Wu Nian has been sealed for a period of time and has accumulated some spiritual energy, it is difficult to continue without a source of water. We must find a way to get more Beast Dawn. A sea of clouds nodded. That's right. But these kids must be tired. They've already activated their soul body as one during the previous battles. Long-term battles require a lot of energy and stamina. Many of them don't seem to be in good condition. Do you want to rest? Lu Chen looked at the team behind him. This group of guys was finally not as eager to try as they were at the beginning, rubbing their palms together. 312 beast cores. In other words, they had already consecutively farmed more than 40 times. Especially since the Dean had ordered that they were not to use soul body as one. This was an extremely difficult battle for anyone. It was no wonder that these students, who were much more resilient than the average person, were so listless. Lu Chen smiled faintly. This bunch of brats also had their moments of exhaustion. However, Lu Chen still shook his head. There's no time to rest. Since they are geniuses, we have to treat them the same way we treat geniuses. Otherwise, what's the difference between geniuses and mediocre people? Yi Tian did not mock and ridicule him this time. Instead, he looked at Lu Chen with a different gaze. Lu Chen turned to the students and said, I know you are already very tired, but I also know that this level has not reached your limit. Hunting is not only for the academy to compete for resources. For you, it is also a kind of experience. I believe that you all understand that battles beyond your imagination will allow you to improve faster. Since you have come to the demonic academy, I must help you grow faster. Now, let me see where your limits are. Yi Fan and the others were obviously the most tired. However, the Dean's words were like a shot of adrenaline, causing them to fiercely perk up again. Chu Tian frowned and said, the Dean is right. Normal battles will not help us much. Only by forcing ourselves into a desperate situation will we have a chance to quickly improve. Xiao Zhan nodded. That's true. However, this is the Netherworld prison. We are responsible for pulling monsters. I am afraid that if we are careless, the academy will be in danger. Yi Fan suddenly raised his head. His eyes were incomparably firm. Then don't be careless. Xiao Zhan, you aren't afraid, right? Xiao Zhan sneered. Little junior brother, how can you speak to your senior brother like that? Your senior brother is afraid. What a joke. Continue. Chu Tian laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, refreshing. I haven't felt this refreshed in a long time. That old fox wants to see our limits. Impossible. Quiet down, senior brother. If the Dean hears you, be careful of making things difficult for you. The three of them secretly laughed. Geniuses were indeed geniuses. Under this heavy pressure, no one collapsed. Instead, it aroused their fighting spirit. Although their bodies were tired, the fighting spirit in their eyes became stronger. Dean, you want to see our limits in a trivial 8th district. You are looking down on us. That's right. Dean, don't worry. You definitely won't have a chance to make a move. Speaking of which, Dean, you haven't done anything. Why do you look more tired than us? Lu Chen's head was filled with black lines. These little brats were actually making fun of him. Their guts were getting bigger and bigger. He laughed and said, all right. You guys said you won't give me a chance to make a move. Then if you don't get 500 this year, don't rest. 500. Can you use soul body as one? Someone asked. Lu Chen decisively refused. No. This. Dean, are you a demon? Lu Chen smiled proudly. He turned around and continued to lead the team. It wasn't until midnight that the demonic academy found a place to rest. They had finally completed the 500 Beast Corps mission. However, each one of them was so tired that they almost passed out. This included Qian Shi and Long Xiang. They didn't even eat and fell asleep. The camp was filled with snoring sounds. Boss, they didn't eat and fell asleep. Lu Yi had been busy for half a day. The porridge she cooked could only be put aside. Little Green, boil more of the stamina replenishing medicine that you usually give me. Let them recover tomorrow, Lu Chen said. Boss, there aren't many herbs left. The medicine boy's latest batch of herbs hasn't matured yet. It's okay. I don't need it for the time being. Let them drink it, Lu Chen said. Little Green nodded and went to busy himself again. Tonight's vigil was handled by Lu Chen, a Sea of Clouds, and Yi Tian. The three of them sat by the fire. Sea of Clouds said, Nameless. Your body is weak. You should go rest. Yi Tian and I will be fine. Lu Chen looked at Yi Tian and smiled. How can a guest keep vigil? Senior Yi Tian, you should go rest. With the help of the fire, Yi Tian looked at Lu Chen. He had too many questions in his heart, but he swallowed them back down. In the end, he shook his head. Nameless. It's only the third day. The other Saint Academies will come to the 8th district later. The competition will only begin then. Also, we have to be careful of the Purple Heaven Palace. As far as I know, many of the Saint Academies maintain a good relationship with the Purple Heaven Palace. It's possible for them to collude with any of the Saint Academies. They can even ask several Saint Academies for help at the same time. What's next is the real contest. Nameless, do you have any plans? A Sea of Clouds asked. Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, yes. Tomorrow, we will enter the 7th district. Chapter 951. District 7. A Sea of Clouds' eyes widened. Sure enough, the Dean's goal wasn't District 8. I saw that you were heading towards District 7, yes, when the other academies arrive, District 8 will become very chaotic. The deeper we go, the fewer academies will be able to get close to us. At the same time, District 7 isn't absolutely safe for the other academies. They won't dare to do as they please. Lu Chen explained. Yi Tian nodded. This idea is really unexpected. These little guys haven't fully displayed their potential yet. I think we can still survive in District 7. I think it's feasible. A Sea of Clouds narrowed his eyes. Before, Nameless was not only stimulating the students' potential, but also testing their strength at the same time. The students' performance in the actual battle was better than they expected. Nameless still didn't let them use Soul Body as one. If that was the case, District 7 was indeed worth a try. Okay. Lu Chen didn't sleep for the whole night. However, a Sea of Clouds and Yi Tian didn't let him patrol, so he leaned against a tree and rested. The next morning, the students finally woke up. As soon as they woke up, they smelled a medicinal fragrance. Lu Yi gave everyone a bowl of medicinal soup to help them recover their strength. A new day has begun. It's time for this young master to show off his skills. A Sea of Clouds walked to the middle of the students. Everyone, cheer up. We're going to District 7 soon. Oh, District 7. That's great. I've been wanting to go for a long time. The devil training is going to be upgraded. Come on, let's make the training more intense. After the team was reorganized, Lu Chen led the team and began to move towards District 7. At this time, the battle situation broadcast sounded again. Real-time battle situation, hunting ranking, Lower Institute of Gods and Devils, 47 high-level magical beasts of the 2nd rank. Imperial Academy, 2 high-level magical beasts of the second rank. Eastern Academy, 1 high-level magical beast of the second rank. Phoenix Academy, 1 high-level magical beast of the second rank. Northern Academy, 7 mid-level magical beasts of the second rank. According to the regional rankings, the 8 districts of Nether Prison are the Lower Academy of Gods and Devils, the Ultimate Emperor Academy, the Donglin Academy, and the Fomlai Academy. The 8 districts of Nether Prison are the North Pole Academy and the Carefree Academy. 3 other academies had already entered the 8th district. Lu Chen remained calm and collected as he continued to lead the team on their way. Because Lu Chen had been hunting while moving in the direction of District 7, it didn't take long for the Demonic Academy to enter District 7. Regional ranking, Lower Courtyard of Fiend God, 7 districts of Netherworld Prison. Those who entered the 8 districts of Netherworld Prison are, Ultimate Emperor Academy, Donglin Academy, Fomlai Academy, North Pole Academy, Carefree Academy. This announcement is a little annoying. It feels like we're being chased all the time, Long Xiang said. Thousand Stone Bao smiled. They were originally chasing us. Let's go, we're still in first place. If we go deeper, we'll encounter third-level exotic beasts. However, Lu Chen was extra careful this time. With Rhubarb leading the way, they tried their best to avoid exotic beasts. Until evening, the Demonic Academy had only completed 3 hunts, and they were all second-level exotic beasts. The Dean seems to be avoiding high-intensity battles. If he can't avoid them, he'll choose the weaker exotic beasts. The students also saw that the Dean's strategy was different from before. Didn't they want to see our limit? Why didn't they start hunting? I'm very interested in Rhubarb, the Dean's pet. Look, that guy seems to know the way. Is that the Dean's pet? The audience outside the field was also very surprised by the Demonic Academy's strategy. Why didn't they fight? With their strength, they should be able to hunt third-level divine beasts. Strange, it feels like they've been rushing. It wasn't easy to reach the 7th district. Why didn't they kill more third-level divine beasts? They might even be able to get into the rankings. A sea of clouds was also very surprised. However, from Lu Chen's way of doing things and the route they were taking, a sea of clouds suddenly had a bad premonition. He hurriedly ran a few steps to catch up with Lu Chen. Nameless, you. You can't be, Lu Chen smiled. Our speed is a little slow now, but if nothing goes wrong, we can enter the 6th district tomorrow. What? The 6th district? Nameless, only the top sacred academies dare to enter the 6th district. Only the top 10 in Xinyuan continent dare to enter the 6th district, and only the top 3 dare to enter the 5th district. Although these kids are very strong, it's still a little dangerous. Lu Chen didn't slow down. This is just right. The only ones left to compete with us are the North Pole, Donglin, Huangji, and Fomlai sacred academies. As long as we hunt a third-level divine beast, we're guaranteed to be in the top 5. If we're lucky enough to encounter a 4th-level divine beast, I estimate that we can enter the top 3. You call it good luck. Nameless, the battle strength of us old fellows really isn't as high as you think. Even when I was at my peak, I couldn't deal with a level 4 divine beast alone. In the previous big hunting competition, the Wunyan Academy could only enter the 7th district at most. Lu Chen suddenly stopped. Old C was old after all, and he was a little conservative. However, he couldn't be blamed. He was willing to follow Lu Chen, which was his last hope. He didn't want the Demonic Academy to die before it could rise. What's more, he didn't know Lu Chen's strongest strength, so it was understandable that he was so nervous. Old C, you said that if you want to go against the heavens, you have to join my Demonic Academy. You can rest assured that since I dared to take you in, I will definitely bring you out safely, even if... Lu Chen looked at his right arm. Even if I have to do my best, I will never let anything happen to my people. His physical injury and the mutated dragon species made it difficult for Lu Chen to exert his full strength, but at the same time, it also gave Lu Chen the capital to stake everything on one throw. A sea of clouds looked at Lu Chen. After spending so much time with Lu Chen, it seemed that he needed to re-examine this young man every day. Suddenly, a sea of clouds let go of his persistence and shook his head with a smile. Nameless, I've only been in Divine Demon for a little more than a month, and I feel like I'm young again. You are not only driven, but you have always been very steady. Since I chose to join Divine Demon, I should believe in you. Lu Chen smiled and patted a sea of clouds on the shoulder. Old sea, I know you are worried about me, worried about the Demonic Academy. A sea of clouds smiled. I've been in Nameless for decades, and I've seen countless geniuses, but I've never seen someone like you. I didn't expect that what I said to recruit students would really come true. Go against the heavens. Well, this old man, even if I have to risk my life, I will accompany you to the end. Lu Chen smiled. We still have a long way to go, how can we finish it? No matter if it's the Holy Academy, the Immortal Academy, the Purple Sky Palace, or Zhongxian Gu, my Demonic Academy will not lose to any force. Let's go. Yi Tian looked at the two people, and the blood in his heart gradually recovered. He had already decided to retire, and there was no blood to speak of. However, during this period of time with the Demonic Academy, he seemed to have become a few hundred years younger. Although Nameless was weak, her brain was not simple at all. Yi Tian took a deep breath and whispered to himself, Nameless, if you can lead the academy through this difficult time, Yi Tian, am willing to join Divine Demon. Chapter 952. After a night's rest, the Demonic Academy entered the 6th district. The spectator stands were in an uproar, and the situation was almost out of control. Are they crazy? They've entered the 6th district. There are only 3 or 4 schools in the Nether Prison that are qualified to enter the 6th district, but they're actually going there. Just watch, their crazy dean is leading the students into the fire pit. They'll definitely die. At the same time, in a corner, several people wearing masks were frowning as they looked at the illusory realm map in surprise. They looked at each other, their eyes full of confusion. The 6th district. They've gone to the 6th district. It's going to be troublesome if they make a move now. Others might not be able to feel the impact of Lu Chen's actions, but these people, as the person involved, could naturally feel the difference. We've contacted 6 schools and prepared to secretly make a move to kill Yi Fan and that Nameless. But now, only one school can enter the 6th district. This Nameless, not only can they prevent the weaker schools from making a move, but they also want to use the magical beasts in the 6th district to restrict the schools that have the strength to enter the 6th district. I really didn't expect this desperate move. I think we don't need to be anxious. They've entered the 6th district and are also in a dangerous situation. Perhaps we don't even need to make a move, the magical beasts will help us deal with them. At the same time, Saiji and Jilan were already on the move. After a few days of observation, they had already figured out some things. Generally speaking, the major schools would avoid other schools. This way, their own hunting would not be affected, and it would also reduce the possibility of being attacked by other schools. However, there were a few academies that, from the moment they entered the Nether Prison, they had been moving towards the direction of the shortcut exit. And when the Divine Devil Academy entered the 7th district, their route had also been adjusted. It was especially obvious from the illusory realm map. If their route was connected by lines, it could be seen that they were encircling the Demonic Academy from all directions. One Demonic Academy, 5 schools with decent strength. Saiji looked at Jilan. Jilan nodded. The dean has already chosen his disciples. We can let them start moving. Saiji took a deep breath. This is a matter of great importance. I hope everything goes smoothly. More than a dozen disciples secretly followed the 2 mentors and quietly left the Demonic Academy's square formation. They hid in the 6 academies and waited for the right time, in District 6, the demonic academy finally slowed down. At this moment, the rookies did not dare be careless. It was equivalent to them skipping the 7th zone and entering the 6th zone. Almost all the level 3 divine beasts in the vicinity had terrifying battle prowess. If they were to encounter a group of them, they might be wiped out immediately. Rhubarb was also carefully exploring the path, leading the team deeper in. After walking for who knows how long, Lu Chen stopped and ordered the team to quickly hide in the forest. There was no miasma here, and their vision was clear. The students could see that a few hundred meters away from them, 3 purplish-red Cheong-Chis were tearing apart the corpse of some exotic beast on the ground. The 3 Cheong-Chis were covered in dark purple fur and had a pair of wings on their backs. When they tore at the corpses, their faces were ferocious. They are dark blood Cheong-Chis. They only live in the nether prison. A sea of clouds whispered, there are 3 golden patterns on their foreheads. The color is not too deep. They are level 3 high-grade demonic beasts. At this moment, the battle situation broadcast sounded again. Since the demonic academy had been avoiding the exotic beasts, and the other academies were also moving quickly, the number of the top academies was not large. However, the number of the lower academies began to increase. They should have started to hunt in the areas ahead. The biggest change was in the regional rankings. Regional rankings: Lower Academy of Gods and Demons, Donglin Academy, Fenglai Academy, North Academy, Star Academy, Heavenly Map Academy, and Deep Valley Academy have entered District 6 of the Nether Prison. Those who entered District 7 of the Nether Prison are, Lu Chen frowned. When they were in District 8, the Demonic Academy had hunted for half a day. In the past 2 days, they had rested normally at night. As a result, the other academies finally caught up with them. 7 academies had entered District 6, and some academies that were ranked at the bottom had also rushed up. More than 30 Saint academies had entered the 7th district. At this moment, the battle finally began to reach a stalemate. They are chasing us in a hurry. Lu Chen snorted. There were level 3 demonic beasts in District 7, but they were at most level 3 mid-grade. As long as they could kill the 3 level 3 high-grade dark blood Kirans in front of them, they would probably be able to get into the top 10. Lu Chen ordered people to keep an eye on the 3 dark blood Qiankis while he gathered the students. We still have some time advantage. Let's kill these 3 dark blood Qiankis first. With these 3 dark blood Qiankis as a foundation, as long as the other academies can't kill level 4 Qiankis, we are likely to get a good ranking. Lu Chen said. Grey Crow, Mysterious Armor King, Bai Yi, you 3 team up. Yi Fan, Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, you 3 team up. Long Xiang, Thousand Stone Bow, Old Wine, you 3 team up. After attracting the attention of the dark blood Qiankis, Grey Crow and Yi Fan, you 2 team up and try to draw away the other 2. We will quickly kill the remaining one. This is a level 3 mid-grade demonic beast. Its strength is comparable to 5 stars of Theo the Great. Its speed and attack are not comparable to level 2 demonic beasts. You must cooperate with each other and cover each other, or you will be easily killed by them. When necessary, you can use soul body as one. Several people were glowing. The dean finally agreed to let them use soul body as one. Level 3 high-grade demonic beasts were Qiankis with extremely high bloodline. This battle would not be easy for these genius students. There is no time to lose. Let's do it now. A sea of clouds looked at Lu Chen. This guy not only had to achieve good results in the big hunting match to relieve the pressure of the secondary spiritual pulse of the academy, but also had to deal with unknown opponents. Even so, he didn't seem to be flustered. Yi Tian walked over and stood behind a sea of clouds. Old Sea, the final moment is coming. I don't know if Nameless can resolve this crisis. He is not an unprepared person. I believe in him. Let's go. We are going to fight the dark blood Qiankis. Suddenly, 9 figures rushed out of the forest and rushed toward the 3 dark blood Qiankis that were eating. The divine demon disciples hidden in the forest held their breaths and stared at the 9 people. In the spectator area, countless people did not even watch the battle of their own academy. They were all staring at the demonic academy. They were hunting 3 dark blood Qiankis. At the same time, before the 9 people got close, the 3 dark blood Qiankis had already sensed the danger. They decisively put down the food in their mouths and turned into 3 blood shadows, rushing toward the 9 people. Level 3 high-grade demonic beasts were unimaginably fast. Oh no, they already knew we were here. They are so fast. Soul body as one. As a meat shield, the Black Armor King was not good at movement techniques. He had to use soul body as one to increase his attributes. Grey Crow, Long Xiang, Thousand Stone Bow, and Old Wine saw this and immediately used soul body as one. On the other side, Chu Tian's mind was spinning rapidly. He quickly shouted to Yi Fan and Xiao Zhan, "You two don't use soul body. I'll do it. Soul body as one." As soon as they made contact, 7 of the 9 people were forced to use soul body as one. Chapter 953. At Theo the Great's level, the difference of 1 star was huge. In the team, the 2 teachers were the highest level, but their actual combat strength was also greatly reduced. Next were the 3 heroes, Theo the Great and the other 3 stars. They could still fight against rank 2 beasts, but now they were facing a rank 3 high-level beast, Dark Blood Qiongqi. The difference in strength between the 2 sides was obvious. The only turning point was the cooperation between the teams. A Dark Blood Qiongqi had already arrived in front of Black Armor King. A sea of clouds felt his heart jump out of his throat. He looked at Lu Chen, but saw that Lu Chen was only staring at the battle, not giving any orders. Black Armor King quickly activated his body armor. Golden Arhat's armor. Martial God's iron wall. Even so, he might not be able to block the Dark Blood Qiongqi's attack. At this moment, the cooperation Lu Chen had been waiting for appeared. Immortal Trap Domain. 9 immortal swords, 9 swords returned to 1. 9 sword images shot out, and Grey Crow had already attacked. Ghost Order Talisman, 100 ghosts bind. Bai Yi's fingers formed a seal, activating a restriction skill. On the other side, after Chu Tian's soul body fusion, he activated the Rakshasa Gate. The Dark Blood Qiongqi didn't care and slammed into the gate. The earth shook, but the Rakshasa Gate didn't break. Chu Tian spat out a mouthful of blood. Senior brother. Xiao Zhan's eyes widened. I'm fine, you guys attack. Chu Tian's eyes were cold. Rakshasa Gate, seal. For giant stone gates squeezed inwards, as if they were about to merge and trap the Dark Blood Qiongqi. The Dark Blood Qiongqi roared, "Ant, you're courting death. Sky raising baleful blood. Blood curse domain." Below Chu Tian, the ground trembled, as if something was stirring under his feet. Yi Fan's eyes widened in anger. Chu Tian, dodge. Chu Tian hurriedly moved to dodge. Just a few tenths of a second after he left, a pillar of blood erupted from the ground. Blood fell from the sky, covering the entire space. When the blood droplets came into contact with the trees, they actually melted. Be careful, the fiendish blood qi will corrode your body. Xiao Zhan shouted to warn his teammates. Blood qi filled the air, and it was almost impossible to avoid it completely. Chu Tian and Yi Fan quickly activated their spiritual energy shields to protect themselves. Xiao Zhan's heart was burning with anxiety. The blood curse domain covered a huge area. Not only would it affect the 3 of them, but it would also affect the Grey Crow group and Long Xiang group. It might even bring trouble to the Academy's attack. However, something even more unfortunate happened. The other two dark blood Qiankis activated their blood curse domain at the same time. Even though everyone had activated their shields to defend themselves, the durability of the shields was still rapidly decreasing. No, I have to break the blood curse domain. Xiao Zhan's eyes widened. He gritted his teeth and growled, as long as I, Xiao Zhan, am here, don't even think about hurting the people of the demonic academy. Soul and body as one. Heaven incinerating true flames. 9 flames fire domain. For a moment, Xiao Zhan was like a fire god descending to earth. His whole body ignited with raging true flames. These flames were not of the same type. There were red flames, black flames, blue flames, purple flames. The flames crazily spread and instantly engulfed the entire area. The entire space was like a fiery hell being burned by the flames. My God, is that senior brother Xiao Zhan's true strength? So terrifying. I always thought that junior brother Yi Fan was the strongest among us. I never thought that senior brother Xiao Zhan was not weak at all. Senior brother Chu, senior brother Xiao, junior brother Ye's strength is unfathomable. It's still too early to judge. However, senior brother Zhao's heaven incinerating true flames is indeed too strong. It's especially used to suppress the blood curse domain. In the raging flames, the countless blood auras in the blood curse domain were quickly evaporated. Xiao Zhan's consumption of such a fierce technique was also terrifying. After holding on for a while, his spiritual energy was completely exhausted. The 9 flames fire domain was also gradually extinguished. Roar! Ant, you've angered me. A dark blood Qiongqi's body glowed red. Its figure flashed and pounced at Xiao Zhan. Junior brother. Chu Tian's eyes widened in anger. Unfortunately, he was too far away. The killing Rakshasa sect had been heavily injured, and he was also injured. The one closest to Xiao Zhan was Yi Fan. At this time, he was unable to restrain his anger and was about to use the soul-body fusion technique. Junior brother. Xiao Zhan suddenly roared, you still want to leave your soul-body fusion technique to those people. After speaking, Xiao Zhan gritted his teeth and used his last bit of spiritual energy to quickly dodge. Divine Wind Fire Trace. At this critical moment, Xiao Zhan actually managed to dodge the dark blood Qiongqi's pursuit. Seeing that Xiao Zhan was safe, Yi Fan let out a sigh of relief. However, in the next second, just as he appeared, a giant figure suddenly appeared behind him. The dark blood Qiongqi had caught Xiao Zhan's movement and had already arrived. Ant, die. The dark blood Qiongqi's attack was extremely fast, and it had already greeted Xiao Zhan. At this time, there was a roar in the distance. Soul-body fusion. Profound Valley God transformation, Wind Dao. In an instant, a figure flashed in front of Xiao Zhan at an unimaginable speed. Holy Buddha Bitter Buddha Seal, God-destroying Buddha Seal. Xiao Zhan looked at Yi Fan's back in shock. Junior brother was actually facing the dark blood Qiongqi head-on. Yi Fan, your enemy hasn't appeared yet. Why didn't you listen to your senior brother? Stop talking nonsense. Yi Fan roared angrily and erupted with spiritual energy. A Buddha seal suddenly collided with the dark blood Qiongqi. With a loud bang, the huge spiritual energy impact formed a spiritual energy ball that quickly expanded and exploded. Then, Yi Fan, Xiao Zhan, and the dark blood Qiongqi were both sent flying. Junior brother. Chu Tian's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as he rushed towards his 2 junior brothers. At the same time, because Xiao Zhan had dissolved the blood curse domain, giving the other 2 teams a chance to breathe. Although the Grey Crow team was in danger, they managed to pull the dark blood Qiongqi far away. On the other hand, the Soaring Dragon team Soaring Dragon and Thousand Stone Bow had consumed a lot of energy and were unable to hold on. Lu Chen took a deep breath. Yi Fan, that brat, that head-on clash just now was too dangerous. However, the dark blood Qiongqi didn't use a powerful killing move. Otherwise, that attack would have been even more dangerous. Even Lu Chen would have to make a move in advance. Fortunately, Yi Fan's Wind Dao was sudden enough. The dark blood Qiongqi didn't have time to use a powerful move. Yi Fan also knew this, so he dared to fight head-on. In any case, the two Qiongqis had been pulled apart. The situation of each team was very critical. Even if the timing wasn't perfect, they couldn't delay any longer. With Lu Chen's order, the disciples hidden in the forest instantly rushed out and charged towards the dark blood Qiongqi that Long Xiang's team was holding back. Old C, Senior Long Xiang's team can't hold on much longer. You take command over there. Make sure to kill it quickly. After Lu Chen finished speaking, his body flashed and disappeared. Dean. A sea of clouds wanted to say something, but he realized that Nameless had already flashed to Chu Tian's side. The dark blood Qiongqi wasn't too injured. It quickly got up and charged towards Chu Tian's team again. At this moment, a figure appeared in front of the three of them. When they saw this figure, the three of them were stunned. That back that didn't seem straight due to exhaustion, and that rare severed arm. There was no need to identify this figure. It was definitely the Dean. Dean. Lu Chen looked at the three of them and smiled faintly. Each of you is very strong, and all of you have the strength to fight above your level. However, your cooperation still needs to be improved. After returning to the academy, you need to work together more. I believe that you will soon surpass Senior Grey Crow and the others. Alright, your trial ends here. As he spoke, a black and white longsword slowly appeared from the void. Celestial Demon Limitless Sword. Lu Chen grabbed the sword hilt with his right hand and said, "Leave the rest to me." After saying that, Lu Chen turned to look at the dark blood Qiongqi that was charging towards him. He lightly spat out 4 words, Celestial Demon Symbiosis. With a boom, Lu Chen's black hair was instantly covered in frost. Chapter 954. In the spectator area, countless pairs of eyes were watching the battle on the Demonic Academy's side. Their dean is going to make a move. By the way, how strong is their dean? I've only heard that he defeated a few 10th-year masters from the Soaring Firmament Academy, but I've never heard of his other achievements. I'm very curious as to how he became the dean. It's said that he's actually a newcomer. Otherwise, an experienced dean would never lead an immature team deep into the 6th district of the Nether Prison. I've been paying attention to him for a long time. His body was chopped up like that, and he didn't have much energy along the way. Moreover, he's only a level 1 star field grand cultivator. My God, I'm so confused. How can such a person become the dean? How did Soaring Firmament's grace lose? I still can't figure it out. I think he's just using these talented students to earn a ranking for the academy. He doesn't have any ability at all. Let's see if he can hold on until the other students arrive. Countless voices of doubt were heard, and the Demonic Academy's disciples were also staring at the battlefield. As students who joined later, they didn't know much about the dean. More than that, they heard that some newcomer had joined the Demonic Academy. To them, even if the dean couldn't make it, at least a divine demon had come to a sea of clouds. A sea of clouds used to be the dean of the Intentionless Academy. Although a sea of clouds closed down, not many people said that a sea of clouds couldn't make it. However, among the disciples who had entered the divine demon realm earlier than them, there was a saying. The dean's strength was unfathomable. At this moment, they were also very curious as to how strong the dean was. In the corner of the spectator area, several mysterious people wearing veils were watching the battlefield. The divine demon Limitless Sword. Very well, I'd like to see how strong the new master of this extraterrestrial item is. On the battlefield, the dark blood Qiongqi was furious after being pushed back by a mere human. Its figure was like a bloody shadow as it shot toward this side. "Dean, be careful." Yi Fan and the other two were so nervous that their breathing became rapid. "Dean, don't touch the blood of the dark blood Qiongqi. Their blood is full of blood curses." Xiao Zhan hurriedly warned. Lu Chen activated many of his buff skills and wielded his longsword. His white hair fluttered in the wind as he activated Heaven's Eye on his forehead. "Don't worry, its blood can't touch me." Although Lu Chen hadn't leveled up during this period of time, his spiritual energy observation had improved a little. Using the Heaven's Eye, he could already capture the figure of dark blood Qiongqi. The spiritual energy in this guy's body was violent, and he was indeed full of blood curse. Lu Chen continued to pour his spiritual energy into the infinite fiend god sword, but he did not make a move for a long time. The opponent's speed was too fast. A normal sword strike could very well be dodged by it. They had to wait until they were close enough. When the dark blood Qiongqi was less than 30 meters away from Lu Chen, the dark blood Qiongqi stirred up a gust of wind. As for Lu Chen's faint figure, he remained motionless within the gust of wind. Only his red clothes were blown away by the gust of wind. At this moment, Lu Chen finally attacked. One sword, to break the heavens. A streak of red light flashed by. In the next second, the red silhouette had already fallen 50 meters behind the Qiongqi. The entire world seemed to quiet down in this moment. A sea of clouds seemed to be able to hear his own heartbeat. He looked at that person again. First, he made a perfect finishing move. Then, he calmly sheathed his sword and left this. A sea of clouds hastily looked at the dark blood Qiongqi. At this moment, the dark blood Qiongqi was standing in front of Yi Fan's trio. However, it didn't make any move to attack. Its pair of red eyes trembled unnaturally without end. It strained to look at Yi Fan's trio. That person. That person, who is it? Yi Fan looked at the dark blood Qiongqi in shock. Had the Dean just passed through its body? However, the Dean's speed had been so fast that he hadn't been able to catch any trace of him. There had been no collision of spiritual energy, no obstruction, and not a drop of blood on the Dean's body. However, the dark blood Qiongqi was right in front of the trio. At this moment, the trio was more or less injured, but the dark blood Qiongqi didn't have the slightest desire to attack. Yi Fan suddenly understood. Evidently, the battle was already over. One strike, instant kill. Some people said the Dean was weak. Some people said the Dean wasn't worthy of being the Dean. Wasn't worthy of leading so many geniuses. What a joke. That man was ridiculously strong. Even if he only had one arm, even if his body was weak, as long as he drew his sword, even the high-grade rank 3 dark blood Qiongqi would be instantly killed. That man is our Dean. His name is Nameless. Chu Tian slightly cracked open his mouth. After he finished speaking, he quickly retreated with Yi Fan and Xiao Zhan, one in each hand. Nameless. The dark blood Qiongqi's trembling eyeballs finally stabilized. One sword cleaves the sky, really. So strong, with a puff, the dark blood Qiongqi's body was neatly split into two at this moment. Boom, boom, boom. The originally flat ground under its abdomen suddenly ruptured into a several 100-meter-long fissure. At this moment, the spectator area that could accommodate over 100,000 people was dead silent. Many people couldn't help but stand up and look up at the inconceivable scene in the Dreamland map. My heavens. What the hell just happened? Impossible, instantly killing a high-grade rank 3 dark blood Qiongqi. That guy is obviously a 1-star grand cultivator. How is it possible? He didn't even use soul-body fusion. That sword, that move. What kind of terrifying damage is that, to actually use just sword chi to directly cut the ground? Are you sure this isn't my illusion? the eyelids of those few people in the corner twitched violently. How can there be such a terrifying attack? He is only a grand cultivator. Is that guy still human? Is this his true strength? His timing is extremely precise. At that distance, the Qiongqi couldn't dodge at all. His move is incomparably accurate, one sword insta-kill. Imagine if I were that dark blood Qiongqi, would I be able to dodge this attack? Back then in the testing space, if I were to make a move, would I be able to dodge such an attack? That old man's forehead was oozing with bean-sized sweat. He seemed to have already given the answer. He wasn't sure either. What is this person's background? The one who was the most shocked was still heavenward. This is simply amazing. Tian's voice trembled, as if his entire person was petrified. That attack just now seemed to have pierced his heart, causing him to stop breathing. The calmness when he was ready to attack, the decisiveness when he attacked, and the confidence when he retracted his move, all of these indicated that Nameless, who he didn't really trust, had experienced countless thrilling battles before to be able to have such an exaggerated performance. Although his broken arm caused permanent damage to his physical body, the internal injuries on his body made him look weaker than everyone else. However, the moment he attacked, he was no longer that weak Dean. He was the absolute king. Yi Fan and the rest had excellent aptitudes, but compared to that person, they were still far from being the strongest newcomer. They were all talented newcomers, but their fates were already different from the moment Nameless became the Dean. The newcomers still had time to grow stronger, but Nameless' fate didn't give him any time to breathe. From the moment he reached level 6, he had to compete with many famous powerhouses. Chapter 955. At some point in time, Lu Chen was already standing beside Yi Tian. On the student side, under the leadership of a sea of clouds, they had completely suppressed the dark blood Qiongqi. Thousand Stone Bao, Long Xiang, Old Wine, and Chu Tian had already gone to assist Grey Crow and the others, reducing the pressure on the other side. With one less dark blood Qiongqi, the situation was instantly under control. Lu Chen stood beside Yi Tian and said indifferently, "Senior Yi Tian, now that the Demonic Academy has just been established, we need people. I sincerely hope that you can consider joining our God-Fiend Academy." Yi Tian's heart skipped a beat. Nameless, "Senior Yi Tian, I'm not good at teaching. Old C, Thousand Stone Bao, and the others have rich experience, but God-Fiend Academy will develop very quickly in the future. We need outstanding teachers to join us." Old C said that you are definitely the most outstanding among the teachers. I believe that in our God-Fiend Academy, your talent might be fully utilized. Yi Tian took a deep breath. This person was truly not simple. He had absolute strength, but he hid it deeply. Many rookies were still at the stage where they considered everyone else beneath them. However, in order to recruit him, he did not mind his previous harshness and even treated him with respect. Just this magnanimity alone was admirable. Yi Tian took half a step back and cupped his fists at Lu Chen. He bowed slightly. "Thank you for not abandoning me, Dean. I, Yi Tian, am willing to join the Demonic Academy. From now on, I will do my best to fulfill my responsibilities." Lu Chen hurriedly helped Yi Tian up. "Senior Yi Tian, you're being too serious. It's our Demonic Academy's honor to have Senior Yi Tian assisting us. It's also our good fortune for those brats to be able to accept your guidance. Sigh, this old man has seen countless capable people and geniuses, but there are very few who can make this old man accept them wholeheartedly. The Nameless Dean is one of them." Lu Chen was in a great mood after being able to recruit Yi Tian. He couldn't help but laugh happily. "Ha ha ha ha, with Senior Yi Tian joining us, our Demonic Academy will be like a tiger that has grown wings." Yi Tian's eyebrows also relaxed. He finally had an answer to his dilemma. In the end, he still joined the Demonic Academy. Being able to work with a sea of clouds and teach these genius disciples was indeed something worth looking forward to. However, Yi Tian's happiness did not last long. He immediately reminded, by the way, Nameless, although this battle is a foregone conclusion, I'm afraid there will be fierce battles to come. Lu Chen nodded. I know. In this battle, the students should be at their limits. Leave the rest to me. But can your body take it? It should be fine. Nameless, what's going on with your body? Yi Tian suddenly asked. Maybe I can help you. Lu Chen shook his head. His fatigue was caused by the mutated dragon species. There were very few people who could get their hands on the dragon crystal of the dragon-type magical beast. And if this kind of strange mutation were to happen, it would be even more uncertain. Even if it was Etienne, there would not be any way. It's a long story. However, I don't think it will be a permanent state. I will find a way to eliminate it. As he spoke, Lu Chen looked at his left shoulder. Including this arm, I believe that Xiao Lu will definitely help me recover. I have a better suggestion for your arm. I will tell you in detail after the big hunting match is over. Oh. A better suggestion? Well, you don't have to wait for yourself to grow a new arm. In fact, there are some powerful bodies in Jiutian. I learned about this by chance before. When we safely return to the academy, I will tell you. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Powerful body? There was such a thing. The Jiutian was really magical. However, now was not the time to talk about this. They still had a fierce battle to fight. On the other side, the disciples of the demonic academy were constantly using the soul-body unification skill. There were disciples who were constantly sent flying. However, these disciples were extremely good at fighting and had good cooperation with each other. Even if they were sent flying, they could protect themselves to the greatest extent. Not long after, the dark blood Qiongqi was finally suppressed. Facing the fierce attacks of the disciples, it was defeated. After killing 2 Qiongqis in a row, the morale of the demonic academy was greatly boosted. The last dark blood Qiongqi was already alone. Facing the fierce attacks of a group of genius students who had used the soul-body unification skill, it struggled to hold on. After a few minutes, it was finally defeated. When the last dark blood Qiongqi fell, the demonic academy burst into cheers. Haha, we killed 3 third-level advanced magical beasts. Haha, awesome. That's it. Now you know the strength of the demonic academy. Io, my leg. Grey Crow ran in front of Chu Tian's group and taunted, hee, did you see that? Senior brother is still your senior brother. The one we pulled lasted for at least 7 or 8 minutes. Do you admit defeat? Yi Fan's face darkened, senior brother, you only lasted for 4 or 5 minutes. If it wasn't for the 1,000 stone bow instructor, Long Xiang instructor, and old wine helping you, are you sure you could hold on? This 4 or 5 minutes is still very strong. Che. Chu Tian snorted in disdain, senior brother, if Xiao Zhan didn't break the blood curse domain, you wouldn't be so relaxed. Xiao Zhan didn't bicker with his senior brother, hey, did you see the Dean's sword? It's very strong. Of course I saw it. I knew the Dean was very strong, but I didn't expect him to be this strong. Chu Tian said. Black Armor King said, you don't understand. Let me tell you a secret. We fought with the Dean before. We haven't seen that sword move, but he has a few other moves that are very strong. He's not human. At this moment, a sea of clouds walked over, you guys, who are you calling not human? Black Armor King shrunk his neck, hee, senior uncle, you heard wrong. We are worried about junior brother Yi Fan's injuries. A sea of clouds naturally heard Black Armor King's words. But to be honest, Black Armor King said what was on his mind. Alright. Many students have different degrees of injuries in this battle. Everyone find a place to rest. Oh, those who aren't injured, go and collect materials. A rank 3 high-level magical beast, and it's a dark blood Qiongqi. The materials on its body are very precious. Speaking of which, the academy doesn't have its own clothes. The dark blood Qiongqi's skin is known for its toughness. It's a good choice. This is tough. The dean cut it in half. Grey Crow's face was full of doubt. Then why don't you cut it and see? A sea of clouds threw down a sentence, glared at Grey Crow, and hurriedly went to check on the student's injuries. Seeing a sea of clouds walk away, Grey Crow muttered, "If I could cut it, then I would be the dean." Soon, Thousand Stone Bout delivered 3 beast cores. Lu Chen took the beast cores and nodded slightly. Rank 3 high-level beast cores should be worth a lot of rank 2 beast cores. If only I didn't get tired easily, I would have gotten more. After becoming the dean, Lu Chen's greedy nature didn't change. But due to the current situation, he could only give up. In any case, the harvest was already pretty good. The battle situation was soon updated. The lower house of gods and demons was far ahead with 3 rank 3 high-level beast cores. District 6, a team had just finished off a rank 3 mid-level poison flood dragon. The students were collecting materials. Because it was a poison flood dragon, its entire body was poisonous, so the gathering speed wasn't fast. Dean. An instructor walked behind an old man and whispered, "The demonic academy shouldn't be far from us." The old man narrowed his eyes slightly. "Yes, I didn't expect them to have the strength to kill 3 dark blood Qiongqis. However, they must be at their weakest now. Inform the students to stop collecting materials. We need to speed up. Whether or not they can be recognized by the Purple Sky Palace depends on this." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.